Ridge Cable 11. Welcome back from Clipper Magazine Stadium along with Eric May. I'm Dave Collins. You get a look at the lineup for the New Britain Bees. James Skelton, Yusuke Kajimoto, and Jamar Walton. All former Barnstormers, as is Michael Krause, and they love to do well in this ballpark. But trying to hold them down tonight will be left-hander Jarrett Leverett and the defense behind him. And that has become somewhat of a standard alignment for the Barnstormers, at least in terms of the infield as of late. The outfield has been mix and match. You can see Trayvon Robinson and or Lastings Millage out there at any given time as well. Jarrett Leverett is on the mound, and I code games in red and black, and you see clusters of red and clusters of black depending on winning and losing. And Jarrett Leverett won his first 4 games of the year, lost his next 5 decisions, but he's come back to win the last 3 to get to 7-5 on the season. Leverett beat New Britain his last time out. Shaky start. He gave up 5 runs in the first 3 innings. The offense came back, bailed him out. Same pitching matchup we have tonight. Jarrett Leverett against Kyle Simon from the New Britain Bees. Lancaster ended up winning that game last Wednesday by a score of 10-5, and now it's James Skelton leading off for the Bees here tonight. He did not have fun with Leverett on Wednesday. He struck out looking 3 times.
But a guy that is oh so dangerous, and not always with the bat, but with the eyes. I mean, great eye at the plate, and we've seen that through the years out of James Skelton.
What makes Skelton so tricky in the leadoff role is you don't know if he's going to look at that first pitch and try to get ahead in the count and get the leadoff walk, or if he's going to go for it. And he's got terrific power, especially here, and he's done it to the Barnstormers once already this season, gone after the first pitch and hit a home run. Here is the motion. Leverett ready to go. First pitch of this game stays inside for a ball, says John Harrington, and it is 1-0. Leverett, 116 hits allowed in 90 2/3 innings. He's walked 35, struck out 64, and he misses again. Skelton is up there 2-0.
And putting Skelton right in the driver's seat, right out of the gates.
Jarrett comes back. He is able to throw the strike. It is 2-1. Working tonight with Anderson De La Rosa. De La Rosa has been an absolute rock in back of the plate, but Tyler Clark has come a long way from the start of the season to now. Clark's calling great games. Pitchers are very comfortable working with both of them. This is in the air out to left field, and Sean Halton right there. 1 out. Yusuke Kajimoto will step in. Did you hear how yesterday's game ended, Eric?
How it ended?
How it ended.
Oh, yes, I saw it.
It was basically a ground ball double play to the right fielder.
Yeah.
It was one of the strangest things I've ever witnessed. Sean Halton played it perfectly. Runners at first and second, 1 out. Those were the tying runs on base. Ball hit on the line, short hop by Halton, and the runners weren't sure initially whether it was caught or not. Halton fired in, actually got the force out at second, but they didn't give it to him initially. Got the lead runner, caught in a rundown, tagged him out, threw back to second, got the force out the second time. One of the craziest finishes I've ever seen. Popped up, foul, back and out of play.
So how did that officially go in the scorebook then?
I think it officially went 9-6-5-4. It should have simply been 9-6-5 is my understanding, but we got the out on Snyder the second time around, so officially it went down in the books as 9-6 to 5-4. Ball and a strike on the switch hitting Kajimoto, batting from the right side. Offering to the inside corner for a second strike. It is 1-2.
That's why you never know what you're going to see in a baseball game.
That one took the cake. But it helped Anthony Carter get his 21st save, and the Barnstormers take the series. Ball 2 is high and inside, 2-2.
You ever seen a triple play?
I have.
Here?
Yes. We had the around the horn 5-4-3 triple play a couple of years ago, started by Luke Hughes. Josh Prince hit the ball, fouled away, 2-2.
That must have been something to see. And you think about that, you have to have the right spot on a hard hit ball. Just bang, bang, bang.
Kajimoto continuing to battle Leverett. Last year, Kajimoto a Barnstormer, Leverett a B. Uniforms reversed here in 2017. 2-2 is on the way. Jarrett brings it home, and that is ball 3. Count is full.
Well, I guess the other news is yet another Barnstormer has been signed.
Brian Evans has gone to the Seattle Mariners. His contract purchased over the weekend. Wrapped back to the hill. Nice stop by Leverett. Lob toss, 2 outs. And Joe Gardner is here. So an even exchange. One veteran Barnstormer right-hander replacing another. Gardner is 15-9 as a Barnstormer over the years. And always a good addition. He likes to rest the arm for a while and join us later on in the season. At least the second year in a row he's done that. And he'll get the job done. He has the start on Wednesday here. Probably won't go terribly long the first time through. Leverett to Jovan Rosa, who's been somewhat of a nemesis for the Barnstormers and specifically for Jarrett this year. Fouls it off. It's 0-1. Hitting .421 with 4 home runs and 11 runs batted in the season series is Jovan Rosa. Bouncing ball here over toward third. Charged by Weber, and he makes a wild throw. Leverett coming off the bag, so that should be an error, I would think. Charge to Weber. Not posted as of yet. Rosa's aboard, and Craig Maddox will step in. That is a throwing error on the part of third baseman Garrett Weber. The left-handed batting Maddox will step in. .242 with 6 home runs. Well, even when the pitcher gets the job done against Rosa, still have a hard time getting him out. And he's not a fast guy.
No, he's not. And realistically, Weber could have taken one more step to get his balance and get a good, accurate throw over to first.
New Britain's first inning kept alive on the throwing error. Leverett goes to work on Maddox, and it is low. Ball 1, no strikes. You hate giving an opposing team extra outs.
Yeah, New Britain's coming off a 1-6 homestand.
Lost all 4 to the Barnstormers and dropped 2 of 3 against York. Barnstormers with the sweep in New Britain, and then took 2 of 3 at Southern Maryland over the weekend, and those were all really close ball games. Swing and a miss by Maddox, 2-1. If you look ahead to maybe down the road a playoff series between the Barnstormers and Southern Maryland, although York is trying to have a lot to say about that, then, boy, it could be some series. The way that played out over the weekend. Ball 3 is outside. We saw great pitching, and we saw the power show. It started off the Cole Garner show, and then it became the Sean Halton versus Michael Snyder show. As a matter of fact, the last 10 runs batted in that series were either knocked in by Snyder or Halton. Half swing and a foul ball off to the third base side. Clement got a break there. That was ball 4.
Offensively, they didn't get a lot of output yesterday, but Halton with the big blow with that grand slam.
Tied the franchise record with his 3rd of the season. And they've all been on the road. Three, 2 outs. Rosa free to wander. Leverett comes to the plate. Bouncing ball toward the middle. This will be cut off by Noel. Spin and a throw. Rico with the play. Cuts him down 4-3. No runs, no hits, an error. And a man left. We'll go to the bottom of the 1st inning. New Britain nothing. The Barnstormers coming up. You get a look at one-time Barnstormer Kyle Simon. He is the ERA champion, 2.77 to go along with an 8-6 record in the Atlantic League a year ago with New Britain. This season, the numbers are reversed. He is 6-8, including the loss against the Barnstormers last week in New Britain, where he gave up 12 hits, most of them singles in 5 1/3 innings. Bo Amaral taking a pitch for a ball. It is 1-0. The Barnstormers racked up a season-high 19 hits in that Wednesday ball game, 17 singles. Amaral looking at ball 2. It is 2-0.
It's called working for your runs.
Rico Noel is on deck. His uniform number is changed back to number 1. Ball 3 is outside. Simon, generally a control specialist, who's averaged only 2 walks per 9 innings this season, only 1 in the start last Wednesday. He falls behind Amaral here, 3-0. Bo awaits. Simon deals and finds the outside corner. A strike called, 3-1. Amaral allowed 0 for 4 at Southern Maryland yesterday. He lined out to an outfielder, all 4 plate appearances. He gets the walk. The leadoff man is on. Something you just don't see out of Kyle Simon. Noel will step in. Rico had a beautiful bunt base hit at one point on the road trip. He did a lot very positively on that trip. Had some big stolen bases. He's now tied, finally, with Darian Sanford for the league lead. Sanford's been gone 6 weeks or so, month and a half, since Sanford's contract was purchased by Washington. To Noel, inside and low. This is not the Kyle Simon I'm used to seeing.
When we talked about it at that last homestand, too, you kind of pointed out you thought Noel looked a little tired and maybe needed a day or two to rest, kind of get rejuvenated.
Well, he has. He did so many things well. Defensively, second base and center field, both on that trip. But
let's face it, Lancaster's going to need him on base, making things happen.
Simon has missed with 7 of 8. 3-0. Trayvon Robinson waiting on deck, and Lancaster has the opportunity for a very quick start to tonight's ball game. Noel batting 3-0. Likely to take this pitch. He does, and it's recorded as a strike by John Harrington. Now 3-1. You still got options if you're the Barnstormers. Amaral has decent speed. He's not Noel, but a fine base runner in his own right. You could get him started here. He is going to go. The 3-1 is down low. It doesn't matter. 8 pitches out of 10 up the strike zone for Kyle Simon so far, and it really opens the door for the Barnstormers here in the first inning. Trayvon Robinson will come to the plate. Robinson, arguably the hottest hitter on this ball club, 429, his last 49 at bats.
Well, and another guy that was really starting to get hot and then started some nagging injuries, needed some time. But it's nice to see that he picked up where he left off.
He had a big double to left center field in the first game on Saturday. Here's the offering from Simon, and he slides it back to the outside corner, 0-1. Now, Kyle Simon is a sinker slider pitcher, and he gets a lot of double plays. First 2 innings, the Barnstormers faced him back on Wednesday. He got out of jams with double play balls. Inside and low, Robinson batting 1-1, and with Kyle Simon on the hill, maybe more than any other pitcher in the Atlantic League, the double play is always a possibility.
Right now, just does not seem to have command of his pitches.
1 ball, 1 strike to Trayvon. The delivery, strike 2 at the knees on the inside corner. But he's starting to come around. If there were a right-handed batter at the plate right now, I'd start the runners. I wouldn't be so inclined to do that with the left-handed batter up there.
Yeah.
Skelton has a clean shot at third against Amaral. Here comes the 1-2. Robinson holds on the swing and the pitch low.
Yeah, Simon against Lancaster this season, 12 1/3 innings. He's walked 3 in those 12 1/3 innings, and he's walked 2 here in the first.
Trayvon Robinson up there, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lancaster trying to get an early hold on this game tonight. Simon to the plate, 2-2. That's fouled away. Looked like the runners did start. Amaral at second, Noel at first. You've got really good speed out there. See how Trayvon can fare in the number 3 spot in the batting order. Runners start, 2-2 pitch is fouled at the dish, and they've got to go back.
Well, we're starting to see that aggressiveness of Ross Peoples putting runners in motion again.
Well, I think it's, to some extent, the smart thing to do because Simon's a ground ball pitcher. So could he strike out Trayvon Robinson and you run yourself into a double play? Yes, but there's a greater likelihood of a ground ball. So my guess is start the runners.
Yeah, and that's the chance you take. And
here's the 2-2. This time the runners stay put, and it's swung on and missed. So a good call by not making a call there for the Barnstormers. It'll bring on Cole Garner, the right fielder. Garner 263 with 3 home runs and 12 knocked in. He's been hit by a pitch 4 times in the last 5 games. Twice by New Britain, and then twice over the weekend at Southern Maryland.
And Sean Halton leads the team in that category with 9, so Garner picked up almost half of that in a road trip.
First pitch strike to Cole. It's 0-1. Halton is on deck. Simon hit him on Wednesday. Got hit later on in that game. But Kyle Simon's worked himself partially out of the jam right now.
Yeah. But how big of an addition has this been for the Barnstormers to get
swing? And that ball is hit pretty well to center, but backtracking on it is Kraus now coming in. He'll make the catch. Amaral is going to tag and head to third. Well, the Barnstormers pick that up, and now it's up to Sean Halton with 2 outs and runners at the corners. Well, the Barnstormers haven't been able to get that big hit to take early control of the ball game. Halton will give it a try here. Sean, twice now in the last 4 games, has driven in all 4 runs the Barnstormers have scored, and he is now the league leader with 63 runs batted in. He had the grand slam in the 4-2 win yesterday, and he doubled homered and drove in 4 runs at New Britain on Thursday as the Barnstormers won that one 4-3. Now, Lancaster has been riding on this guy's big shoulders quite a bit lately. 2 outs, runners at the corners. Noel bluffs, doesn't go. A pitch is low for ball 1, 1-0.
Matt, and he's responded. And I think Simon is going to be very selective with these pitches, knowing how hot Halton has been here recently.
You do have an option of running Noel here and force Skelton to make a decision whether to throw or not. He's not going to go, and that ball is lined left field. Coming in is Bierfeld. He'll slide, and he won't make the catch. The ball is trapped, and Sean Halton singles home a run, knocking in his 64th of the season. Bierfeld nearly made an heroic catch out there in left field, but quickly the third base umpire Buzz Albert got out there and signaled no catch. Steve Clevenger will bat with runners at first and second and 2 gone.
Well, Bierfeld tried to sell it as best he could. Didn't argue, so I think he probably knew that he'd trapped it. But, you know, credit Buzz Albert. He was right out there to make the call. Johnny on the spot.
Simon has to pay for one of his walks. Steve Clevenger will try to make him pay for the second one. 2 outs, 2 on, and a 1-ball count to Steve. Noel breaks for third. There's a swing and a miss. Skelton's throw is not in time. Halton holding on at first base. Rico Noel, the new league leader, with his 34th stolen base of the year. And believe me, those stolen base guys pride themselves on those numbers, just like home run hitters do.
Sure they do.
Clevenger batting at 1-1.
And I like the fact that it wasn't a double steal, because it leaves the right side open for Clevenger as they have to hold Halton on at first base.
Steve batting 2-1. Garrett Weber waits on deck. Barnstormers grabbing the early lead here in the first inning. Breaking ball gets there. Clevenger at 2-2. Steve is still trying to find his way back after almost a 1 full year layoff. He's 8 out of 38, yet to have an extra base hit. Swing here and a ground ball on that right side. You called it, Eric May. Base hit. Noel scores, and it's 2-0 as Halton holds on at second base.
And usually I jinx somebody. It feels good that it worked out for the positive.
RBI single for Steve Clevenger. He knocks in his 3rd run. Garrett Weber will look to add more to the inning. Back-to-back 2-out RBI singles. The Barnstormers have been doing a lot of this here in this second half. They're not as loaded roster-wise, I don't think, as they were in the first half. Breaking ball is outside. You don't have the scary guys like Hobson and Galen, but fundamentally on offense, I think this team's played better. They've been getting those multi-run hits. They've been getting the 2-out RBI hits. Garrett takes a strike.
As nice as it is to see a big blast, sometimes it's more demoralizing for an opposing pitcher if you can wrap out 4 or 5 singles in a row.
to Weber 1-1. Bouncing ball shortstop. Baca will take that and go to Kajimoto for the force out. 6-4. But 2 runs come across here in the opening inning on 2 hits. With no errors, Lancaster strands a pair. And at the end of 1, the Barntormers have grabbed a 2-0 lead. Jared Leverett staked to the early lead tonight. He'll be facing Bierfeld, Hinshaw, and Walton. The 5, 6, and 7 hitters for manager Stan Clyburn. But in many regards, the most dangerous part of this batting order. Bierfeld has tremendous power. He's not a high average hitter, but he does have 16 home runs on the year, number 16 coming yesterday. Hinshaw is a tough out. And Jamar Walton and this ballpark go together like peanut butter and jelly, as we saw earlier in this year.
And what is the jelly of choice for Dave Collins on a PB&J?
Oh, man, it depends on the mood I'm in.
Oh.
And I have a really strange call on that. Foul ball back. That knocked the mask off of Anderson De La Rosa, but I have done this, and it's really good. I know the classics are strawberry and grape, and I love them on a PB&J, but I have also done this because I've had it, and it's really, really good, and I would recommend it. Peanut butter and orange marmalade.
Yeah, I think I've done that before, too.
It's terrific.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go way off. That's...
Fly ball out to right center, pretty shallow. Shades on for Cole Garner to make the catch, 1 out. Jordan Hinshaw will step to the plate. 3-11 hitter, it's Hinshaw. 20-game on-base streak.
Smooth or chunky peanut butter?
I'm a smooth guy. I don't mind chunky. I'll eat it, but I prefer smooth.
And the marmalade kind of gives it even that
it gives it texture.
Tanginess.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No, I wasn't going really off the deep end like mint jelly or something like that, which
rhubarb or something.
I love rhubarb, but that's another story.
Do you really?
Yes. First pitch strike tastes just like strawberries.
Yeah, but it's got a bitter taste, though.
Not when you boil it down with sugar in it. It tastes just like strawberries, to me anyway. No balls and a strike. Down and in. It's a big Rochester thing. That's where
I'm not convinced on.
Really learned to appreciate rhubarb, but every once in a while I'll get a nice supply of it. Make some rhubarb sauce. Swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Leverett back to work on Hinshaw. 6'3" left-hander from Georgia. Brings it home, and that's knocked out to right field, down the line, and fair into the corner. Hinshaw really is a tough out. He will gallop into second base. That, I believe, eventually signaled a ground rule double by the first base umpire, Carlos Dano. It must have spun and got caught up maybe in the ivy. But that's a tremendous piece of hitting by Hinshaw. Down in the count, goes the other way, down the line, works his way on base with one out here in the second inning.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, when we first saw him, he had just been signed and brought up. And we could see early on, and I remember you saying he's a Clipper Magazine stadium type of player.
Here's Jamar Walton. Speaking of which,
yeah.
Leverett to the plate. Walton takes strike one. Jamar Walton had the 3 home run game here earlier this season. One of 2 to do it this year, and one of 2 opposing players ever to do it here. Both former Barnstormers, which adds insult to injury. Hinshaw bounces off second, not going. Swing and a miss. The ball gets away from De La Rosa, which will give Hinshaw third base. And I've got to think that's a pass ball.
Yeah, it looked like they might have got crossed up as far as their pitch is concerned.
Runner at third base now with one out. Leverett is ahead in the count.
Because typically we'll see De La Rosa, if that ball's going in the dirt, he'll turn his glove to scoop it and keep it in front of him.
I'm not sure that ball got in the dirt entirely, and that's why I'm thinking pass ball, but
yeah,
we'll potentially take another look at that one. But Leverett takes care of Walton, a swing and a miss.
That's big. Get him out.
2 outs, and now it's all up to Michael Krause. It was ruled a pass ball. Krause will step in, 266, 13 home runs, 45 knocked in. Nothing to sneeze at here either. Krause has done more against the Barnstormers on defense this year than he has offensively, but this guy's dangerous. Leverett to the plate and strike one.
Yeah, hitting just 200 against the Barnstormers with 1 run batted in. But you don't want to flirt with danger.
Yeah, you give him the right pitch here, it's a 2-2 ball game. Leverett ahead in the count, 0-1 to Krause. Fastball runs inside. Ball 1, strike 1. Double and a pass ball puts a runner at third base here in the second inning. Up and away for ball 2 now. 2 balls and a strike on Krause. Another one-time Barnstormer. Lancaster is still owed a player for Krause. Technically, we got Cole Garner for Mike Lee. Fouled, and it's 2-2.
So under those rules or trades, does it need to be this season?
It ultimately doesn't. Lee went to New Britain last year, and we were still owed. Garner coming back this year. And if you look at their Barnstormers numbers, it seems unequal. But if you look at their New Britain numbers, Lee actually was better for the Bees last year than Garner was. Lee was 5-0 after he went there. That is ball 3 outside. The count on Krause is full, 3-2. With the shortstop Baca due next.
And the last thing Leverett wants to do now is leave a pitch out over the plate for Krause to turn on. So even if you give up a walk, not the worst thing.
Here's the payoff. He got him swinging. So that's an even better thing.
That's right.
Baca, the number 9 hitter, will lead off next inning. The double is wasted. And we'll go to the bottom of the second with the Barnstormers ahead by 2. Barntormers with the early lead, and Jarrett Leverett able to lock it down through the top of the second inning. Now here's Nate Coronado. He takes a strike from Simon at his 0-1. Coronado down to 346. Still producing, but not quite at the level that he was. Simon comes back, and that's tapped foul, 0-2. But you're facing professional pitchers, many of whom have gotten to the highest levels of the game, and they're going to make an adjustment if you get off to that hot start. They're going to figure something out, and you have to figure it out back. Here's the 0-2. Inside to Nate. Ball 1, 2 strikes. Anderson De La Rosa, the catcher, due next.
You know, being the trading deadline today in Major League Baseball.
Swing and a miss at the slider. Coronado is gone.
Pitchers were of high demand.
Teams trying to decide to plan for a playoff run this year or plan for the future. And it's been a part of baseball now for quite a long time. I'm not sure to this point if I'm a fan of it or not. I wish it were back at June 15th, where it was when we were kids.
That's right. It was earlier.
It was June 15th. 1 out. De La Rosa stands in. 270 hitter. Nice slow breaking ball. Strike 1. Simon got himself in trouble with the back-to-back walks leading off the game. Both those runners scored. He seems to be getting settled in now. De La Rosa refuses to reach. It's a ball and a strike. Two and one.
This guy has just been a doubles machine. 10 in his last 20 games.
It was at one point 10 and 16.
Oh.
He had some big singles on the road trip.
Yes, he did.
Breaking ball, that's lined out toward left center field. Krause playing him that way, cuts it off and makes the catch. 2 outs. Bo Amaral will come back around.
Jeez, he was almost positioned as like left center fielder in slow pitch softball where you have 4 outfielders. That was perfectly played defensively by New Britain.
Figuring De La Rosa would hit that way against Simon's stuff. Sometimes you set your defense according not just to the hitter, but the hitter versus pitcher matchup. Amaral with a walk and a run scored back in the first inning. Ball 1 below the knees.
So these new guys, Amaral, Clevenger, Coronado, how excited have they been about coming in here to Lancaster, especially in the heat of a playoff race?
I asked Bo about that last week, about looking ahead to Friday night's game, and he says he's really picked up on the excitement of his teammates, and it becomes part of him too. Ground ball shortstop, nicely played by Baca, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Simon. The Barnstormers retired in order in the second, but still up 2-0. Monday Night Baseball at Clipper Magazine Stadium, and it's the final night of July. Eric, you remember where we were when this month started. Not sure if the Barnstormers would finish second place in the first half or not. July 1, the night they lost 5-1 on a gem by Logan Darnell from Somerset. And it looked for all the world like the Barnstormers would be 2 out going into the 2nd of July and that last scheduled day of the first half. Southern Maryland gives up 8 in the bottom of the 8th to Long Island. The picture completely changed. That ball is pounded out towards center field, but Amaral gets back on it. He retires Baca. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 3rd inning. James Skelton will step in. So we go from a sort of a dreary picture when this month started to a very rosy picture for the Barnstormers right now. Sort of like March coming in like a lion, going out like a lamb. The Barnstormers have had their best month of the season so far. They've been tremendous since the All-Star game. So things have turned out pretty well here.
Well, and I remember the beginning of the month when we're getting all our pregame stuff together and fans coming up saying, Dave, what do our chances look like? He said, well, it's not looking good, but there's still a chance. And as long as there's still a chance, there's still hope.
Up and away, a ball and a strike. Well, the Barnstormers now have to win the first half on August 14th. They'll go back down to Southern Maryland. Second strike to Skelton. Leverts ahead 1-2.
And if that doesn't work, Thanksgiving Monday might be open. Gee.
Leverett missing there, 2-2. So we're going to be better than halfway through the second half before the first half is decided. And the problem with that is you have to manage the previous series differently.
Sure you do.
2-2, line drive, and right at Noel. 2 outs. A couple of loud ones here in the 3rd inning off Leverett. Yusuke Kajimoto will step in, out on a comebacker in the 1st inning. We saw that last week. Ross Peoples held Anthony Carter back from the 4th game of the series in New Britain, used Kaohi Downing as the closer. Kaohi had not done that yet this year, and a couple of runs later, the Barnstormers did hold on 4-3, but the point is, you have Carter, it's a little bit less scary, but you've got to hold him back for that playoff game. So now you've got another series where you have to manage games a little bit differently. And it's not just Ross. John Harris will be in the same boat.
Yeah, you're 2 weeks out now, and that's a lot of games. So I think Lancaster, and as demoralizing it was, I'm sure everybody was hyped to play that game. You know what? Set that aside. Just put your nose to the grindstone and just keep hammering.
Ground ball into the hole at shortstop, gets through. Kajimoto aboard, and now Jovan Rosa will step to the plate. Bouncing ball through the left side, softest hit ball of the inning, but the one that goes for the base hit. Now it's Rosa, who reached on a throwing error back in the 1st inning, and not the guy you want to see stepping into the batter's box as a possible tying run ever if you're the Lancaster Barnstormers. Not with what he's done in this season series. There's Jovan Rosa, there's Zach Wilson, who's probably out for the bulk of the rest of the season, if not all the way. And that's a really unfortunate situation. He's a great player, and a bad situation developed there with Zach, and we wish him all the best. Called strike. Rosa batting 0-1, man who lives in East Hartford, originally from Santurce, Puerto Rico. Leverett comes back at 0-1 and tickles the outside corner.
Good pitch.
0-2.
Yeah, and just to finish the thought, you know, right now they've got a 2-game lead. If they can get some help from Long Island, take a series from York, Lancaster take care of business here against New Britain, now you've opened up a wider gap here in the second half of the season.
Fastball is high. 1-2. Southern Maryland is 5 out here in the second half. Actually, I think it's 6 now after yesterday. So that game may mean a lot more to them.
Yeah,
they may be in desperation mode. Things are not going well in Southern Maryland. Ball 1, 2 strikes. Kajimoto goes, pitches outside. Throw by De La Rosa is good. Wow. And Kajimoto is out at second base. Anderson De La Rosa, as good as we've ever had, cutting down opposing base stealers. They lose Kajimoto. Rosa will lead off the next inning, and we'll go to the bottom of the third, 2-0. Outside for ball on Rico Noel. He walked and scored back in the first inning. Simon breaks it across. It's 1-1. Kyle Simon. Rough start tonight. Here's the play at second base. That throw is up, and did Kajimoto come off that bag? Ooh.
Great snap tag, though, by Noel. I mean, just split second. He was down there and
sold it.
Yeah.
2 balls and a strike.
You see Kajimoto when he got up, threw his hands up, thinking he was in.
Noel with a quick line drive to Kajimoto. That's 1 out here in the third inning. Trayvon Robinson stepping in. He struck out back in the first.
Yeah, so after a rough first inning, Kyle Simon now starting to settle in.
He's retired 5 in a row. A couple balls hit fairly hard, but 5 in a row nonetheless. Trailing 2-0. Simon last week got off to a great start, and then the Barntormers started to get to him in the fourth. 1-0 to Trayvon. Lancaster scored 4 unearned runs in the fourth inning on Wednesday night. A couple of errors there. 2-0 to Robinson. Cole Garner waits on deck. No power display from the Barnstormers as of yet, but it can be tough sometimes to get the extra base hits against Simon. Swing and a miss. It's 2-1. Well, yes, he had Robinson confused so far tonight. Trayvon was 1 out of 3 against Simon last Wednesday. 2 ground balls and a single to center. 2-1 pitch. That is founded foul past Josh Bell.
Well, and this is a guy that we had talked about at the beginning of the month, saying that this is Robinson's a guy that Lancaster's going to need in the second half of the season. Well, he must have heard us because he responded 3 straight games with 3 or more hits in that early to mid part of July, and boy, did he pick it up.
Ball 3 is low, filling the count.
Now the key is just keep everybody healthy.
Well, Barnstormers have had a franchise record 10 contracts purchased by major league organizations this year. Hopper towards second base. Kajimoto will charge. Pretty easy play on the chest high bounce. 2 up and 2 down with Garner stepping in. We had 9 last year, and also last year 1 to Mexico, 1 to Taiwan. So 11 players signed to go on to bigger places, but this year 10 to major league organizations. We also had 9 go to major league organizations back in 2011 after the Barntormers got off to that crazy hot start that year in the first half and then cruised to win it the final weekend over York. Fouled at the plate by Garner. It's 0-1. Simon really seems to have a slow three-quarter slider working very well right now to his benefit, and Barnstormers having a hard time catching up to it. And that is his bread and butter pitch. That and a good sinker. In on Garner, a swing and a miss. It's 0-2. Well, I like the way Simon's throwing right now, and I have to think Leverett's going to have to keep his efforts going. Garner swings and misses. Kyle Simon with a bunch of off-speed stuff from that three-quarters angle is now retired 7 in a row. Nothing doing. We'll go to the 4th. 2-0 Barnstormers. Three innings in the books tonight here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, and the Barnstormers with the 2 runs in the first inning. Kyle Simon has settled in nicely ever since then, and Jovan Rosa will lead off the 4th for the New Britain Bees. Rosa reached on an error back in the first inning and was at the plate when Yusuke Kajimoto was thrown out stealing, finishing off the top of the 3rd inning. Eric, it's time the Booster Club will be asking me for nominations for Barnstormers Player of the Month for July. Any thoughts on that? Ball 1 is low, 1-0. The previous winners have been Casey Hobson, April, May, and Garrett Weber for June.
Yeah, let me think about this.
Popped up by Rosa. This will twist out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. I have some ideas, but I wanted to get your thoughts.
Let me just go back and peruse here. You know?
It could be a position player or a pitcher.
Yeah.
Two balls and a strike to Rosa.
Well, one guy, De La Rosa, pops into my head.
Yeah, it popped into mine too.
Yeah.
Fly ball down the right side. Clevenger starts, but he'll have no play. It's 2-2.
Okay, so and it was, yeah, Weber had that phenomenal streak. That was at the end of June.
And the first 2 days of July, but that's when the voting was going on.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm going to take that July 2nd game out of the picture for him. Besides, they don't like repeat winners.
Yeah.
And he already won.
Well, and I mean, if you're going to look at pitchers, what Carter has done,
Definitely have him in mind, too.
what Schumann has done.
Yep. Downing?
Yeah. I mean, this bullpen, when you look at it, has just been outstanding.
3-2. And what about Brad Bergeson? He had a terrific month of July, too.
Yeah.
Trayvon?
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough call. They only like me to nominate 3. Payoff pitch. Swung on and missed. Down goes Jovan Rosa. And that is number 3 for Jarrett Leverett. Craig Maddox will come to the plate. 1 out, bases empty here in the 4th.
Is there more than one person part of the voting, or is it how many people are?
The entire booster club votes.
Okay. You're gonna have some number crunching to do.
And it's tough. How do you compare Bergeson to Downing, Schumann, and Carter?
Yeah.
Starting and relieving is they're totally different animals.
And you got one guy that's pitching or playing every 5th day, as opposed to a position player that, for the most part, is playing every day. But you have to look at the impact that they had on the team in that respective month. So, yeah, I don't envy your decisions.
I'm going to get that Facebook message sometime in the next 48 hours. I know I am. And I've got to cogitate at length. 2-1.
That sounds painful.
It's the 1st of August tomorrow. Cogitating is painful. Thinking, anything requiring mental activity, it can hurt. 2 balls, 1 strike. And that is hammered to right center field. Back on this one, all the way back goes Garner. Garner up to the wall, leaps, and that ball will stay in play. It is extra bases for Maddox, and he'll stop at second with a double. In the past, we had the screen and the railing, and you were never quite sure if that ball was into the net or not in that neighborhood. But now if it stays in the yard, it stays in the yard. So Maddox barely missing a home run, and he's at second base with 1 out for Connor Bierfeld.
When it left the bat, I thought it was gone. But he got just under it enough to elevate it and prevent it from leaving the yard. And
no boost from a wind. Garner almost making a leaping catch at the fence. So we'll split the difference, and Maddox ends up at second base. Connor Bierfeld out on a fly ball to right his first time up. But again, you've got a guy who could easily tie the game with 1 swing. Leverett has to be careful here. A ball is outside, 1-0.
Well, we saw him launch one in the last time that New Britain was in town.
New Britain's hit a quarter of its road home runs this season in this ballpark.
Yeah.
Which really isn't that much of a surprise necessarily. Swing and a miss, it's 1-1 because, well, it does play so short to right field here. It alters the game.
Oh, it does.
When you talk to anybody in baseball, the dimensions in right center field here alter the way the game is played. You have to pitch differently. Your approach at the plate has to be a little bit different. 2-1 now on Bierfeld. Hinshaw, always a tough out, waits on deck. New Britain trying to counter that 2-run Lancaster first inning. Line drive, that'll be handled by Noel. No chance for a double play at second. Maddox read it. Ball not hit terribly hard on the liner to Rico. 2 outs, and here's Hinshaw.
Well, and you made a good point, too. The fact that Kyle Simon really starting to get in the groove for New Britain. Leverett can't let up. He has got to stay sharp because 2 runs could be gone in the blink of an eye in this ballpark.
You look at it, Simon, 52 pitches through the first 3 innings. But he's a guy who can string together 5-6 pitch innings. Mm-hmm. He's gone 7 or more innings 8 times this year. Maddox the runner at second, now with 2 outs. Here's the pitch to Hinshaw. That's slapped on the ground and over the glove of Garrett Weber. Charging the play is Halton, and Maddox can only advance to third as the throw comes in. Garrett Weber unable to make the play on that ground ball to his left. The ball jumped up over his glove, and we've got deliberations on the ruling here with Jamar Walton stepping in. And it's going to be the second error charged to Weber.
Man, I think it's the right call.
That ball was not hit all that hard. First and third, 2 gone. Walton, a strikeout victim, back in the second inning.
And just like a base on balls, an error, you don't want to give extra outs away.
Runners at the corners. Leverett will go to work on Walton and miss low. Michael Krause, the on-deck batter.
Well, for Leverett, he's got to win this chess match against Walton.
Out of the set, here comes the 1-0 pitch. Caught on and missed. Ball 1, strike 1. Leverett, for a while this year, really had trouble with left-handed batters, giving up a lot of extra base hits, getting a bit better lately. And Mannix gets to him for the double here in the 4th. Pickoff throw to first, and Hinshaw has to be alert on that one because Leverett's got as good a move as anybody on this staff and maybe as anybody in the league. Hinshaw's going to go. The pitch slapped on the ground to the right side, and Noel up with it. He will throw out the runner, but it also hit Hinshaw on the way through. I do believe that was the call.
It was.
That would be a base hit for Walton, in fact. And then Hinshaw is out 4 unassisted. It took a crazy deflection off of something. I was pretty sure that it was Hinshaw, and they did call it. So in the inning, no runs, 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. Leverett's out of it. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th with Lancaster up by 2. Take another look at that last play. Jordan Hinshaw with the lead off first base, and the ground ball by Walton got him in the heel. And he's automatically out, running into a baseball on the base paths. Walton gets a base hit. And now a breaking ball across for a strike on Sean Halton, who has an RBI base hit. 10 runs batted in the last 5 games for Halton. We talk about player of the month. Let's not forget about him either.
Yeah. Making a late run. But this guy, he just is steady.
Hard hit ground ball. There's Rosa. Nice play along the third base line and a perfect throw. Put a star by that one in the scorebook. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
You know, I think his defense gets overlooked. You see what he does with the bat, but, man, that's a fine play toward the line.
He is the face of the franchise, and along with Stan, I suppose. But a local product who is so good defensively and offensively. Now Steve Clevenger gets a pitch, lines it into right field. for a second. Hinshaw looking at throwing behind Steve. Clevenger 2 for 2 tonight. Barnstormers with a 1-out runner on. Garrett Weber stepping in.
We talked about Clevenger in that last homestand too. You're right. It's going to take him to really get into a comfort zone. But based on his swing, you can see why he was a .311 career hitter.
Line drive type guy. Talked to Bo Amaral on the road trip about putting that right field wall out of his mind. They're not sluggers. They just need to stay in their game and spray the line drives around. They're completely different players from especially Galen and Hobson. Gindel could sort of play it both ways. Galen to some degree could too. If the pitch allowed you to hit the ball to left field, you hit it to left field. Swinging a foul tip by Weber, and that takes a chunk out of James Skelton.
Ouch.
2-1. Boy, we saw Tyler Clark take a beating in the second game Saturday night at Southern Maryland. He had to come out. 2 foul tips from the opposing bats and 1 from his own.
Oh.
And it was time to cry uncle. And then Tyler was back out there tomorrow and caught the win. And hit into maybe the sharpest double play ever. Take a look at that last pitch by Simon, and foul tip. Skelton got drilled. Here's the 2-1. Garrett fouls another one back. Nate Coronado, the on-deck batter.
You don't need to say anything. You just saw the foul ball, and ouch.
Two-two. Check swing and a foul. Weber, since the heroic home run back on the second, has not hit another. He has just 3 doubles since then. 7 runs batted in. A lot of singles, a lot of base hits for him. Here's a 2-2. Outside and low from Simon, filling the count. The Barnstormers need to keep Simon from those short 4 or 5 pitch innings. Payoff. There's a walk. Coronado will bat with 2 men on. Simon has walked 3 in the game tonight. That is really unusual for him.
Well, I think as far as Weber is concerned, those home runs are going to come. I mean, it's going to happen. We've seen it out of him. The main thing is if he just keeps hitting 300, getting those base hits, getting an occasional extra base hit, that's what you want.
The Barnstormers are, in fact, right now more likely to hit home runs on the road with Garner and Halton, and we saw it on the trip. Coronado takes that slider for a strike. Boy, Simon has made some great pitches to Nate tonight. 0-1. De La Rosa waiting on deck. Ground ball, that should be 2. Kajimoto will go to Baca. That is 1. The throw back to first. Nice play on the back end by Maddox. And they turn the double play. 4-6-3. Simon pitches out of the inning. 1 hit and 1 man left. We're on our way to the 5th. Lancaster still up 2-0. Jarrett Leverett takes the lead into the 5th inning. He'll face Kraus, Baca, and Skelton. Jamar Walton actually was fortuitous to get a base hit, as if the ball does not hit the runner Hinshaw last inning. It's played by Noel, and it's the final out. Noel got it anyway.
I didn't see it hit Hinshaw. I just saw all of a sudden kind of dart off to the right.
The ball took just a crazy, unnatural turn. Strike to Kraus. Leverett getting ahead.
And that's what he's going to need to do. As long as he's in the ball game, he has got to be throwing strikes early in the count.
Kyle Simon in a pretty good rhythm right now. Leverett has been in a decent rhythm all night. Simon's outpitched him the last 3 innings, but the Barnstormers were able to get the 2 runs in the first, and Leverett has been able to work out of jams. Fastball for a 2nd strike. It's 1-2. Jarrett's given up 4 hits. He has struck out 3. No walks. Here's a 1-2. Flagged by De La Rosa. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wind up, and that's fouled away. Past Seo Fujiwara in the first base coach's box. Stanley Usioshi is a pinch hitter for time to time. He is active. 2-2 offering is low, and now Leverett's in danger of walking Kraus, which is never a good idea, especially not leading off an inning. He led the league in stolen bases last year. He's not far away this year. Payoff pitch is coming. Leverett to the plate, and that is ball 4 inside. Kraus is on to start off the 5th inning. The first walk issued by Leverett in the game. Shortstop Michael Baca will step in. Baca fly to Emerald in center back in the 3rd inning. A little bit low, a little bit inside.
Now, do you see Baca bunting here?
You certainly have to contemplate it. Baca getting big opportunity to play these days. From Clovis, New Mexico, and he's a college player. First professional opportunity. Leverett goes to work, swing and a miss. He wasn't bunting. It's 0-1. James Skelton is on deck.
He was looking. He was trying to tie the ball game with that swing.
Baca has 4 doubles and 1 home run on the year. Leverett works out of the set. Kraus was headed back in, which is a good sign. Ball 1, strike 1. This current Barnstormers ball club has won 2 out of 3 here at home. Leverett will go to first base. Back in there is Michael Kraus. We'll see how it plays out. The first half team, much better team here at home. This ball club, you'd like to think they'll be as good at home as they have been on the road, but the complexion is different here. With just a handful of changes, Kraus goes, the pitch high and outside. De La Rosa's throw, no chance here. Noel ends up just about sitting on top of Kraus. The runner into scoring position. Now 2 balls and a strike on Baca. And it's Leverett having difficulty throwing strikes, as Simon did at the outset of the ball game.
Well, just a great jump at first base by Kraus. That first step was incredibly quick.
His 25th stolen base of the year. Rico Noel, up he goes and found a new chair. I don't think it's a very well padded one. Pretty, basically a kind of hard, lumpy chair in Michael Krause.
He's all legs.
Pickoff throw to second. Leverett's got a good one there, too. Just ask Josh Prince. But Krause is back in. 2 balls and a strike on Baca. New Britain rattling its swords here in the 5th inning. Walk, a stolen base, and a 2-1 count to Baca. Nobody out in the inning. Krause stays put, and this ball is fouled off to the right.
Thought for sure you were going to say the Bees are starting to buzz here in the 5th. A slight buzz.
2-2. And that is strike 3 called. Baca goes down looking. It's a big strikeout for Leverett. I guess Krause is still at second base. Skelton coming in.
Well, and you want to let Krause know you see him out there and you're thinking about it, but don't overthink it and then lose your focus to the batter, because those are the guys you're most concerned about at this point.
Yeah, especially leading by 2, even though it's only the middle segment of the game. 1 out. Krause remaining at second base. Leverett checking back to Krause. He'll come to the plate, and Skelton looks at a strike. It's 0-1. Kajimoto waits on deck. Technically, New Britain 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position tonight. The Walton hit is the 1. Breaking ball outside and low, 1-1. It's like being 0 for 6. Barnstormers are 2 for 6. Skelton batting here, 1-1. Leverett has to be mighty careful. Krause leads off second base. Leverett will come to the plate, and that runs outside. 2 balls and a strike. The other thing, too, is that Leverett's pitch count is climbing, and that doesn't put the Barnstormers in a really good situation right now, because they had to use 6 relievers yesterday to cover the 9 innings against Southern Maryland, and they've got probably another short start coming up on Wednesday. Swing and a miss by Skelton, 2-2. Joe Gardner will be making that start.
Yeah.
And you hope you can get 4 or 5 out of Joe. Jumping into the picture. He was coming, by the way, before Evans was signed. That was not the result of the signing. It had been planned for a few weeks for Gardner to come in at the end of July. Swung on and missed. Big second out. That is number 5 for Leverett. Kajimoto now in charge of driving in the run.
That's a huge out, because the fact that Skelton hits very well out of that leadoff spot, and really Leverett just overpowered him in that at bat. Now he's got 2 down and a chance to get out of the inning.
Kajimoto 1 for 2. He singled into left field through the hole back in the 3rd inning. Krause would score on a similar base hit. There he goes for 3rd. The pitch is low. The throw by De La Rosa bounces in. And Krause not only has grabbed 2nd here, he's taken 3rd. Ball 1 and no strikes meanwhile on Kajimoto.
Just another great jump by Krause. He looked like he was about 1/3 of the way toward 3rd base by the time De La Rosa got that ball.
Here's a 1-0 pitch, high and tight, 2 balls and no strikes. You've still got Rosa waiting on deck. Leverett to Kajimoto, ball 3. And he gets the 2 strikeouts following the leadoff walk. A price paid on 2 stolen bases by Kraus, but 3-0 on Kajimoto draws this inning out even more. Leverett to the plate, fires one in, 3-1. But you'd like to see Leverett be able to go at least 6 innings tonight. Kuchno threw 3, Hively 2 yesterday, and Carter's thrown 2 days in a row. 3-1 pitch, back to the screen, full count.
And he's where right now, as far as his count?
I have him at 88. So if he can get the out on Kajimoto here, you can get him through 6. And you might try to anyway. Again, one game funnels into another. Here comes the payoff. Line foul off to the right. Still 3-2.
Yeah, you might have to dig deep to get one more inning.
As you look at Gardner, he pitched in winter ball in both Mexico and Venezuela, but hasn't thrown a game since. Here comes the payoff to Kajimoto. That's popped up foul. So it's 90 pitches now for Leverett.
Well, Kajimoto battling.
Leverett's averaged about 4.5 pitches per batter tonight. And that will take a toll after a while. 3-2 again to Kajimoto with Rosa waiting on deck. The motion, Leverett to the plate, line drive, center field, and that's a 2-1 ball game. Amaral has to take it on a bounce. Kajimoto singles in 1. Pair of former Barntormers teaming up.
What a great at bat. Fouling off numerous pitches, and of course, Kraus wanting to throw a strike to try and get out of the inning, and Kajimoto wins that battle with a clean base hit up the middle.
Down the middle of the plate and taken back to the middle. Amaral had no chance to come in and make the play because that line drive had no hang time. And now Kajimoto is the base runner. He'll get a throw from Leverett. And Kajimoto is 5 for 9 stealing bases. He's quite capable. 2-1 ball game. Jovan Rosa, dangerous hitter, stands in for the New Britain Bees.
And based on the replay, it looked like he did have a stolen base back in the 3rd.
Off-speed pitch, and that is hit high in the air down the right field line. Racing over is Noel. He's got to pull up short. That ball unplayable. 1 strike on Rosa.
That was right against the fencing. Yeah, at that point you throw your hands up and say, nope, not going to do it. Yeah, with the pitcher's mound over there and the chairs, and yeah, that's risky business going after a ball in that area.
1 strike to Rosa. He's reached on an error and he has struck out in the ball game so far tonight. 1-run contest in the 5th. Leverett will come to the plate. Fastball up and in. Ball 1 and a strike. Quick pickoff throw to first, but Kajimoto had it read.
Don't even try it.
Another look over by Leverett. Kajimoto goes nowhere. Rosa gets ball 2. On deck is Maddox.
Well, even though he's walked just 1 batter tonight, Leverett has gone to a full count pitch 6 times. So yes, as you mentioned, those pitches will add up.
Here's a 2-1 to Rosa. Ball 3 down and away. A really tight spot, and Ross doesn't have anybody throwing in the bullpen, I don't believe, and that's just, again, situational over the long haul.
Yeah.
He had to use all his right-handers yesterday, and you've got that game coming up Wednesday night. 3-1 offering, foul ball back to the screen. That makes it 7 full counts. And now 95 pitches for Leverett.
But he's got to get out of this inning. He's got to do it here, too.
Kajimoto will be running, so an extra base hit for Rosa will tie the game. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, big pitch. Leverett will go back to work. Here's the 3-2. Hit in the air, right field, down the line. Over on this goes Garner, and he'll pull up short as that one goes foul. We'll do it all again. This is a painfully long inning for Leverett. Facing just his 5th batter, and he does have 2 strikeouts here.
That hit the chain? That hit that chain.
Well, that's a
Did he call it?
once in a lifetime.
Like
3-2, payoff pitch, fouled once more. Still 3 balls and 2 strikes.
They are really making Leverett work this inning. Kajimoto fouling off a number of pitches.
Once in a lifetime, the end of the game yesterday. A ground ball double play started by the right fielder. Time called. Rosa backs away. Rosa's been able to foul off a lot, just like Kajimoto was able to foul off a lot. Looking for the right pitch. Kajimoto again will be on the run. Here's the 3-2. Rosa fouls it back to the screen. And by that swing, that might have been what he felt was the right pitch. 3-2 continuing. Kajimoto wearing a rut between first and second. Like the wagon wheels have been going back and forth. 3-2. And again, to Rosa, the payoff pitch. It's in the dirt, ball 4. Maddox will bat with runners at first and second. Leverett cannot find a way to get the 3rd out here in this 5th inning. You're going to have Scott Patterson come to the mound just to give him a breather.
Yeah, I was expecting this.
It's now 99 pitches, and that's the unofficial total.
Well, now the Barntormers
And the official
bullpen.
total is 102.
Ooh. Well, their bullpen is starting to get active. Starting to loosen up the arms.
Yeah, I think the Barnstormers will stick with the lefties for the most part tonight, and it is Moscas starting to stretch out down there. Well, you want that to be for the 6th inning. Well, Leverett will match up against Craig Maddox here. Maddox already has a double in the game off the fence in right center, along with a ground out to second base. Kajimoto at second, Rosa at first. And it has to be nearly 20 pitches since Leverett got the 2nd out of this inning. He's given up a single and a walk since then, both on 3-2 counts with a number of foul balls at 2 strikes. Here's a pitch to Maddox. That's a strike. 0-1. A 2-1 lead here in the top half of the 5th inning. Kind of dangling by a thread as New Britain has done a tremendous job just grinding Leverett down through the last 2 batters. 0-1, foul ball back, and now he's got 2 strikes on Maddox. Simply looking to tie up the game is Craig Maddox. If he can drive the ball deep, that would be gravy, but he is looking for that RBI single to score Kajimoto and just keep the chain going. With Connor Bierfeld waiting on deck. The count, however, is 0-2. The motion, the pitch, fastball is upstairs. Ball 1, 2 strikes. And what is it about this Barnstormers starting rotation especially where they have these innings where the 2-strike foul balls just keep coming?
Yeah.
He's not gotten battered in this inning at all. He has walked 2. Here's a 1-2 on Maddox. Swung on, and that is tattooed deep to the gap in left center field. Nobody's going to get there, and 2 runs are about to score. Kajimoto already home. Rosa is on the way. There will be no play at the plate. Maddox doubles home 2, and New Britain has taken a 3-2 lead. 2 strikes on each of these last 3 batters, and Leverett hasn't been able to get rid of them. Maddox going the other way with the long double to the left center field alley.
Well, and you mentioned it too. The last 2 batters, Kajimoto and Rosa, really grinding in their at-bats, fouling off numerous pitches, just making this an exceptionally long inning. And Maddox got that one and drove it to the gap in left center.
Connor Bierfeld steps in. He is 0 for 2 tonight. Leverett goes to work. Bierfeld with a swing and a miss. It is 0-1. And now the Barnstormers trail at Kyle Simon, who has just about had full rest between starts in this 5th inning alone. And hopefully he's grown a little bit stale, because he was on fire these last 3 innings. Breaking ball is inside, and it's 1-1 on Bierfeld.
Well, now it looks as though this is going to be it for Leverett. He's got to get through this inning. I don't see him going out for the 6th, not at this point with his pitch count over 100.
1 ball, 1 strike. Taking a right and foul. It's 1-2.
Although
getting the 2nd strike hasn't been a problem.
Yeah.
We've seen Rami Lewis have starts like this.
Yeah.
Where he's not getting battered, but he can't get a 3rd strike. He can't get the outs. 1-2 pitch into the dirt, knocked down by De La Rosa. But it's over 40 pitches this half inning alone.
Wow.
And now 110 for the ball game. And I had him at 66 to start the inning, even at 67 or 68. Still a 40-plus pitch inning. And it's on its 7th batter. 2-2, and Bierfeld gets ball 3 inside and low. It has to be frustrating if you're Leverett. Tough on the fielders, too.
Yeah.
They've been out there a long while. Payoff pitch due to Bierfeld. Hinshaw's on deck. Here's a 3-2, and it's fouled off of Bierfeld's foot.
Ouch.
And yet another 2-strike foul ball. So now we're looking at arguably a 43, 44, 45 pitch inning.
And it's one thing if it's the beginning of the ball game, but now you're talking the 5th on a hot night. Oh.
Got himself, it looked like on the inside of the ankle.
Oh.
That's smarts. Rico Noel got one the other night off his calf muscle, and then it deflected off the side of the shin, and he couldn't walk. He was better the next day and back in the lineup 2 days later. 3-2, again to Bierfeld, and this pitch is popped up foul. The Leverett is in that very unfortunate in-between stage where his pitches aren't fat enough to sink your teeth into, but they're not good enough to get an out. 3-2 again to Bierfeld, and Leverett will step back off. I mean, this has to be just an aggravating inning if you're Jarrett. That this is the 4th batter in a row you've had 2 strikes against, and you can't get the out. You can't put the hitter away. Fighting and fighting and fighting, and a ball here, and suddenly the count is full. And what do you do?
Well, you can throw Krause in there, too, to start the inning. He had 2 strikes on him.
That's ball 4 and the 3rd walk of the inning. Jordan Hinshaw is the scheduled batter. Leverett, coming into this 5th inning, hadn't walked the batter, and he was working on a 4-hit shutout. He cannot survive the 5th, and Ross Peoples has to do something he absolutely did not want to have to do tonight, and that's go to the bullpen before about the 7th inning. Leverett has to come out or his arm will fall off. It's 3-2 New Britain, and the Barnstormers will go to the bullpen. It's going to be John Anderson coming in instead. Anderson will take over as Leverett Augusta Parts. It's 3-2 New Britain, and we're going to take a break and pause for these messages. John Anderson takes over and inherits not the best situation here in the fifth inning. Trying to get just one more out here after 4 batters in a row have reached base for New Britain on 2 hits and 2 walks. A runner had already been out there, so 3 runs are home in the inning. First and second with 2 outs, and a very tough out in Jordan Hinshaw coming to the plate.
And you're right. We have seen this out of numerous Barnstormer pitchers this year. That one inning that does them in, and that inability to find that third strike when you got an opposing batter on the ropes.
Or not even third strike per se for the strikeout, but just getting the outs.
Right.
And it's, to me, it can be inexplicable when that happens. Well, here is Hinshaw against the southpaw John Anderson. It's a big out to get to keep the deficit at 1, and Anderson misses inside and low. 3 walks in the inning, and almost 50 pitches thrown by Leverett against 7 batters. We'd have to go back and count to be sure. Way inside. And Hinshaw bats 2-0. Jamar Walton, the designated hitter, waits on deck. This half inning has gone on for, I didn't notice the start time, but it's got to be about 25 minutes at least.
Yeah, I'm going to say close to. Almost, yeah, because I think it was about quarter to the hour when this inning started. Eesh.
2-1 on Hinshaw. Maddox at second. He's got the big blow. And the runner at first base is Bierfeld. Two one is on the way. Ball 3. Oh boy. Krause was up for 7 pitches. We're going to see if we can go back through this. It may take us the inning break. 3 balls and 1 strike on Hinshaw. That's strike 2. And yippee, it's another full count. Baca was up for 5. Skelton was up for 5. Runners will start, swung on and foul tipped, and De La Rosa gets nailed. Jared Binner out to tend to him.
The catchers are taking a beating here tonight.
Got him in kind of the side of the neck.
Yeah. Yeah, right around
3
the
balls,
collar.
2 strikes, 2 outs. I've said this before about Anderson De La Rosa. The guy is just as tough as nails back there, and you get him off the field, and he is about as nice a human being as you will ever meet. He is just the most kind-hearted, sensitive fellow you'll come across. The complete change in his demeanor. He's hurting back there now. And that would be almost devastating. 3 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. 2 runners on board.
Even with all the padding, that just found an opening and rattled his bones.
You know, we're uncertain if De La Rosa is going to be able to stay in here tonight.
Well, that gives you a chance to add up that pitch count.
I'm still working on it.
Well, he's going to try and stay in. They're going to stretch him out and give him an opportunity to catch and throw.
First and second, 2 outs, 2 on. New Britain already 3 runs home. .46 pitches thrown by Leverett here in the 5th inning.
Well, to no surprise, he's staying in.
He's a rock.
40, what'd you say, 47?
46.
Oh.
And now, with not Bierfeld, but Hinshaw in there, we have yet another 3-2 count. And 6 pitches have been thrown here. So it's 52 pitches here in the 5th inning. We're on our 8th batter. De La Rosa says he's okay. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jordan Hinshaw. And De La Rosa gets to lead off the bottom of the inning, too.
Oh, boy.
Well, I saw Luis Rodriguez play with a broken collarbone. The Bridgeport manager now. 3-2, 2 outs. Big pitch here. Runners take off. And it's bounced to the shortstop. Coronado will take it. He's got to make the long throw across. That is there. 53 pitches later, the inning comes to a close, but not before 3 runs score on 2 hits. No errors, 2 men left. Barntormers have to turn it back around. They now trail 3-2. as usual, a very pretty sunset. Not one of our 5 best of all time at Clipper Magazine Stadium. There aren't enough high clouds around for that, but still a nice one. And we have that one almost anvil-shaped cloud out behind the center field wall. I don't think it's a thunderhead, but shaped somewhat that way. So here is Anderson De La Rosa to lead off the bottom of the 5th inning.
Well,
he has just caught 53 pitches and taken a foul tip off the collarbone, and he's in there leading off the bottom of the 5th. Simon's first pitch, up and in, ball 1. De La Rosa line to center, first time up.
See how he does when he swings the bat.
Strike to the outside corner. Meanwhile, Kyle Simon has gotten into an exceptional rhythm in this ball game. He's allowed 1 hit, 1 walk over the last 3 innings. Hopper towards shortstop, making the play as Baca. The throw is low, but scooped up by Maddox. De La Rosa's retired, 1 out. Bo Amaral will step to the plate. And I said this about Simon the last time the Barnstormers faced him when they were down 5-0. I said the only hope in this game is that Simon will start getting his pitches up in the zone. No, that's the hope here. Otherwise, you're going to see a lot of ground outs the rest of the way.
Well, and as a pitcher, yeah, you like a long inning, so to speak, to catch your breath. Was that too long of an inning? We can only hope.
Outside, a ball to Amaral. It is 1-0.
Not that you're going to get cold and tighten up on a night like tonight.
Check swinging a foul. It's 1-1.
I'm sure, though, as a pitcher, when you're really starting to find your groove, you don't want to sit too long before getting out there and getting the ball in your hand again.
Amaral grew up around Major League Baseball. Said until he was 5 or 6 years old, he had no comprehension that every kid didn't get to do this. Hang out at work with dad at a Major League stadium. Mostly in Seattle. 1 ball and 2 strikes. You can take something like that for granted.
Sure.
Yeah, take your son to work day is every day, and you get to hang out at the ballpark. Wow. Ground ball the other way. It's through into the hole. Baca with the play. Baca has no chance on the throw. Amaral with an infield base hit. And that's the type of player he is. He's going to be that slash and dash guy, hit the ball the other way a lot. You'll see several of those base hits. The Barnstormers get 1 on and Noel in.
Well, and you want your leadoff guy and the number 2 batter, on base. Noel's done it tonight. He's scored a run, as has Amaral. Now, keep the flow going.
Barnstormers pick up their 4th hit. They've all been singles. Throw to first. Amaral dives back in. Bo 1 for 2 stealing. I think my kids had the same thing. They grew up being at the ballpark all the time.
Yeah.
Noel, chopper toward third and foul. 1 strike to Rico. If you're the Barnstormers here, one thing you've got to do is stay out of the double play, not just for the fact that it would kill this inning, but also you want Simon to keep having to throw pitches. Right now, I've got him for 72. The first inning was fairly long for him. Nothing long since. Noel will take a second strike. It's 0-2. Simon, remember, walked the first 2 batters of the game. Got himself in trouble, gave up 2 runs. But since that time, the Barnstormers have managed 2 singles and a walk. Noel trailing 0-2. Simon will come back. That's foul to the top corner of the screen.
Well, and you said that Kyle Simon is a double play pitcher and he gets ground balls. This turning point in this ball game might have been the Barnstormers' 4th inning when they had runners at first and second with 1 out, and he got Coronado to ground into that inning-ending double play. And what's New Britain do in the 5th inning? They come up
and score 3
and spend 30 minutes in the batter's box.
0-2. Ball is outside. That's 76 pitches now for Simon. Barnstormers at times had trouble with New Britain's bullpen in the series last week, but right now I think I'd rather take my chances than the way Simon is throwing. Little pop fly out to right center. This will do nothing. Krause with the easy play. 2 outs. Trayvon Robinson will step in. Trayvon's had trouble with Simon. A strikeout and a ground out for Robinson so far tonight. This is the same guy the Barnstormers reached for 12 hits in 5 1/3 innings last week. And I believe 10 hits in 7 innings the first time they faced him. Not so here tonight.
What a difference a week makes.
Throw to first. Amaral back in. The thing of it is, when Simon's pitching like this, he's got such good bite on his stuff. He's not throwing hard necessarily. As he misses away to Robinson for a ball that's 1-0. You can't even really try to swing for the home run, because the more you do that, the more you're going to hit the ground ball. Well, you've just got to try and hit the low line drives, maybe. That's smashed, but handled by Kajimoto. Hard hit ball, but it's the final out here in the 5th. 1 hit and 1 man left. 6th inning coming around. 3-2 New Britain. Lights have just about completely taken over at Clipper Magazine Stadium. New Britain owns the 3-2 lead as we enter the 6th inning. Barnstormers got 2 on the board in the 1st. New Britain answered with 3 in the 5th inning. And Lancaster's offense at the moment is in a stall. But I have talked about this, Eric. This is the Barnstormers' time of game. The Barnstormers have a run differential from the 6th through the 9th innings of better than plus 60. Well, they have been a very good late inning ball club this year, and we'll see if that can translate into the ball game here this evening. Jamar Walton leads off here in the top of the 6th inning.
As long as they keep it a 1-run deficit, you got to like the chances. We've seen what this ball club can do.
He struck out and reached on an infield base hit when his ground ball hit off the heel of Jordan Hinshaw on base ahead of him. Anderson delivers. This is cued toward third. One weird hop to Garrett Weber, who will fire on to get Walton 1 out here in the 6th inning. Well, you look at last inning, 8 batters, 53 pitches. And you come out in the top of the 6th and you get the leadoff man on 1 pitch.
Where was that pitch last inning?
Boy, we could have used it several times over. 1 out, Michael Krause, the batter. He was in there for 7 pitches.
Yeah, he's the guy that started it all off. For the good at bat, drawing that walk.
0-1 the count on Krause as he squared the bunt. Well, Barnstormers very much in the game, down by 1. But the concern more than this game tonight per se, because the Barnstormers are perfectly capable of coming back and winning this, is how early they had to go to the bullpen. Foul ball away. It is 0-2.
Especially coming on the heels of a game where they had to utilize a lot of their right-handers, and that's going to change the whole concept of Ross's strategy here on out.
Because if they hadn't had to use all those relievers yesterday, it would not have been Anderson in this game against Hinshaw last inning. It would have been probably a Kutchno or a Hively, 2 or 3 batters early. Now, Maddox still probably would have had the 2-run double. Ground ball knocked down by Anderson. He'll recover and make a low throw that's snapped up nicely by Clevenger. 2 outs. A little shaky on that throw. But Steve Clevenger has a pretty good glove at first base, as we've discovered.
He's got a very good glove at first base. Yeah, nice stop, and then Anderson kind of
like the ball glued into his hand as he tried to make that throw.
Kind of a nonchalant throw, and it went right down at the feet of Clevenger.
That was one nice pickup over at first base. 2 outs. Here's Baca. 0 for 2. Fly out and a strikeout. Anderson to the plate. He misses for ball 1. Garner, Halton, and Clevenger due in the lower half of the 6th inning. Kyle Simon's probably good for 7. Then, depending on the situation, you'll see maybe Rowe, maybe Fry in the 8th. That's past everything for ball 2. And Sean Gilblair, the pitching coach, is also the closer for the New Britain Bees. Interesting wrinkle that they have.
A fully active squad.
Here's a 2-0. Baca goes after it, fouls it away. They could send Mike Heppel out there for the 8th inning also, but generally this year they've gone to Rowe. But it could be Fry if you've got some left-handed batters, especially in this ballpark. Well, that's, of course, if Simon gets through 7. Barnstormers could jump on him and change things around. It is, after all, a 3-2 ball game. Ball 3 just missing. 3-1 on Baca with Skelton at the top of the order waiting on deck. Lancaster pitching has walked 3 tonight, but the number of 3-ball counts is very high. 3-1 on Baca. Anderson comes back, zeroes in on the zone. Baca didn't think so, but the count is full. 3-2. If I'm not mistaken, this is 9.
I'm counting it right now. 2.
Here comes the payoff on Baca. Foul to the screen. Here we go again.
Actually, this is 10.
10 full counts.
Yeah. That's a lot of pitches.
3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Bases are cleared off. Barnstormers have had 7 base runners in this game. 4 singles, 3 walks. But 4 of them coming in the 2-run first inning. Here's the payoff. Baca nails a foul ball into the first base seats. It is still 3-2.
Once again, New Britain wasting pitches.
Baca, a product of Tabor College in Dodge City, Kansas, if I'm reading this correctly. 3-2. He gets ball 4 down low. 4th walk given up by Barnstormers pitching in the last 2 innings. Yeah, it's actually a 4-year private Christian liberal arts college in Hillsboro, Kansas, is Tabor College. So it got out of Dodge. No, there actually is another place called Dodge City Community College. That's what I misread. is in Hillsboro, Kansas. I'd not heard of the place before Michael Baca came around.
Look at that. You learn something new every day.
Here's James Skelton batting with 2 outs and a runner on. Anderson will check Baca at first base.
I think not.
Anderson has just walked his 29th batter in 36 innings. That's certainly higher than he would like. He's only allowed 22 hits. The offering to Skelton is lined toward right center field. That'll be in for a base hit. Amaral will pinch it off. Runners will be at first and third. And Kajimoto, who's already 2 for 3 with an RBI tonight, will step in. And you keep him batting right-handed here, but all of a sudden a very dicey top half of the 6th inning.
Yeah, and again, that 2-out walk. You just hope it doesn't come back to bite him.
The walks hurt Kyle Simon in the 1st inning, and it was a walk that triggered the 3-run 5th. First and third, Kajimoto stepping in. Yusuke didn't have too much of a series against the Barnstormers last week. He was in a bit of a slump, but 2 out of 3 with a run scored and a run batted in tonight.
And an at-bat that really kind of set the tone for the inning.
Yeah, that
for
was
New Britain.
largely responsible for that 3-run inning.
Sure.
He was up for 8 pitches. When he stepped in, it was 2 outs, runner at second base. Lancaster was leading 2-0. And he was up there for 8 pitches and finally came up with the single into center. First and third now. Anderson to the plate, swing and a miss. It is 0-1. The Barnstormers have been out on the field now for, I guess it's about 135 pitches tonight in 5 2/3 innings. And that can take a toll too. 0-1 pitch, he couldn't hold on the swing. It's a second strike on Kajimoto. 0-2.
Nice block by De La Rosa. That one very easily could have skipped away. That's the thing, you got to be careful with your pitch selection here.
And you also have to trust your catcher. You've got to be able to trust your catcher.
Yeah.
The pitch in the dirt is too big of a weapon in this day and age. Catchers have to stop it. It's part of their responsibility. He tried, but low, and Kajimoto stayed away from it. Ball 1 and 2 strikes.
Well, and De La Rosa is as fundamentally sound a catcher as I've seen in here.
In this league, you're supposed to call the letter high fastball. They don't always. They do their best to do it. But that part of the game went away, and without that being given to hitters in this game, there's a pitch in the dirt, and they may have a play. Weber will come back at home. Here's the tag on Baca, and he is out. He tried to score like Rico Noel scored the winning run at New Britain a week ago tonight, and it didn't work for Michael Baca. He's out in the rundown. He froze, and that will end the inning. Talk about a buzzkill here in the top of the 6th inning. The stop made by De La Rosa. He recovered, and down goes Baca to end the inning. 1 hit, 1 left. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Nice clear evening tonight at Clipper Magazine Stadium. We had that one big cloud out there over the center field wall. That's basically been it for the bulk of the day. And now we have the moonshot. Barnstormers could use one of those.
Nice segue.
Cole Garner takes a ball high, 1-0.
And I guess what
he had a couple on the road trip.
Eclipse is Thursday?
I know it's coming up.
I think it's Thursday of this week.
1-0 to Cole. Fouled up the first base line off his foot. It's a ball and a strike. Garner has flied out and struck out against Simon tonight. The Barnstormers, with the way Simon is pitching, will probably have to manufacture a run. When Kyle has this stuff, it's really difficult to elevate the ball against him. And we'll see how it pans out. We thought that last week as well, and the Barnstormers started assaulting him without a lot of base hits, but not much power. Garner checks his swing, and the appeal is turned down. The count Cole's way at 2 balls and a strike. Grounded off the mitt of Josh Bell in the third base coach's box. 2 balls and 2 strikes now, and Cole Garner leading off this 6th inning. Simon ready to go, and that's in on the hands. What Simon is doing is the quintessential sinker slider stuff. He's got one pitch diving down and into the right-handed batters, and the other one diving down and away to the right-handed batters. And they're both moving well enough to control hitters on their own, but the combination of the two, you don't know which one's coming. And if you're looking for one and get the other, forget it. And Garner gets hit for the 5th time in 6 games. Draw a bullseye on Cole's back. Simon gets him for the 2nd time. I don't think that's a number 8. I think that's a bullseye. Just fill it in. Put the target on there. And that's about where he got it, too, is right in the number. Leadoff man is on for the Barnstormers here in the 6th inning.
He's probably thinking, is this what I signed up for?
Cole Garner feeling like a piñata. 5 times in 6 games. Holy Ron Hunt, Batman, or Don Baylor.
Well, by the expression on his face, he didn't think it was all that humorous.
Halton, the batter, has singled in a run and grounded out to third on a really nifty play by Jovan Rosa down the line. First pitch just bends outside. Ball 1-0. Well, the Barnstormers have it set up with the leadoff man on here in the 6th inning. Now, if there's one guy who's going to get an extra base hit, it would be Halton. He's homered 3 times in the last 4 games. 2-0 to him from Simon. But against this stuff from Kyle Simon, it's hard to fathom the home run happening.
Well,
you can really have to lay a pitch flat.
Yeah. You can only hope that, Simon had garnered 2 strikes, ends up hitting him.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Halton with a line drive base hit out into left field. That's what you can look for here. And now Lancaster has runners at first and second with nobody out. Sean Halton clearing the head of the shortstop, Michael Baca. The Barnstormers have the tying and lead runs on base, and we're going to get a visit from Sean Gilblair. A promising start to the 6th inning for the Barnstormers. Halton swinging the bat really well again. And that's about what you can hope for against Simon tonight. Just get enough. Get the low line drives. Take your base hits. The mound visit comes to an end. The batter is Steve Clevenger, the first baseman, who is 2 for 2 in the game.
And a guy that has really impressed me with the way he handles the bat. I mean, this guy will go anywhere in the strike zone with the bat. He'll take it to left field. If the pitch is down and away, he'll pull it if it's inside.
But again, it's about staying out of the double play.
Yes.
Here's the pitch to Clevenger. Line drive. That's a base hit into left center field. Everybody will move up one. Garrett Weber will bat with the bases loaded. Clevenger is 3 for 3.
And you know what? He can't be Casey Hobson. People can't expect him to be Casey Hobson. You know what? Just be Steve Clevenger, and they're going to be happy with the results.
Garrett Weber steps in. He's hit into a force play, and he has walked. A big chance for the Barnstormers here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. I mentioned this is kind of Lancaster's time of game. They do very well in the latter innings. Here's the pitch to Garrett. Ground ball toward the middle. Base hit. Garner scores. Halton will be held at third by JB. And we're tied at 2. Or 3, rather. 3 straight base hits against Simon here in the 6th inning. And I like the Barnstormers' approach. Now it'll be Nate Coronado stepping in with the bases loaded.
And that's what I was saying, that sometimes consecutive singles can be even more demoralizing than a long ball. And you gotta wonder how the hit batter might have affected Kyle Simon here to start the 6th.
Weber now 2 for 5 with the bases loaded on the year. Nate Coronado steps in. He is 1 for 3. Tie ball game here in the bottom of the 6th. Halton, Clevenger, and Weber on board. And to Coronado, it snaps outside, ball 1. 3 all. Barnstormers now with 7 hits. Coronado with every chance in the world to put the Barnstormers into the lead. Even another 4-6-3 double play would do that. 1-0. Looped out towards shallow center. Here comes Krause. It'll be in. There's another base hit. Throw getting away in the middle of the diamond, but backed up by Rosa. Coronado giving the Barnstormers a lead. As Halton comes home, the bases will stay loaded for Anderson De La Rosa.
I thought Krause was going to get to it, but
he decoyed very well.
Yes, he did.
Now, Stan Clyburn is coming out. That will be all for Kyle Simon. He was on a roll, innings 2 through 5. The Barnstormers' first 5 batters reaching base in the bottom half of the 6th inning. This is what this second half ball club has been able to do and been able to do in these bridge innings 6, 7, and 8. New Britain will go to its bullpen. We're going to take a break and pause for these messages. A great approach by the Barnstormers here in the bottom of the 6th inning has already produced 2 runs. And now Casey Coleman takes over to face Anderson De La Rosa, the Barnstormers catcher, who's 0 for 2 in the ball game tonight. The bases are still loaded with nobody out here.
And a chance to really explode.
To De La Rosa, breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-1. Casey Coleman has some major league time, and he is a third-generation major leaguer. He's the son of longtime Tiger and Senator Joe Coleman, whose dad also was Joe Coleman and played Major League Baseball. Swing and a miss. De La Rosa trails 0-2. Coleman can be deadly. Barnstormers have seen him a couple of times now. He's given up 16 hits in 14 innings. He has walked 3, and he has struck out 11. Lancaster got to him once last week, and the other time he was devastating. Swing and a miss. Oh my, De La Rosa's gone on 3 pitches. Well, that is a huge first out. Bo Amaral now will try to extend the rally. Amaral is 1 for 2 with a walk here tonight. He has scored a run. Like De La Rosa succumbed in a hurry to the sliders of Casey Coleman.
Well, I'll be curious to see the condition of De La Rosa tomorrow after that foul ball he took to the clavicle. See if it has any lasting effects on him tomorrow.
To Amaral, first pitch upstairs, ball 1, no strikes. The Barnstormers trying to stretch a 4-3 lead here. Bases are now loaded with 1 out. De La Rosa is now just 1 for 13 with the bases loaded. To Amaral, 1-0. That stays high. Bo will take a walk here very gladly. It's 2-0. He's halfway there, but the, of course, 2 toughest ones still to come. Rico Noel, the on-deck batter. Clevenger at third, Weber at second, Coronado at first. 2 balls and nothing to Bo. Swung on, and that ball is driven right center field. Way back it goes, and the walls will not contain it. Another Barnstormers grand slam. Bo Amaral taking advantage of Clipper Magazine Stadium, and it's 8-3. Who said he wasn't a home run hitter? Oh, that's right, I did. Grand slam for Bo. Bo knows baseball. Bo knows 8-3.
Wow. That one hung up there, and he drilled it.
Amaral with the slam right near our truck. Lancaster has scored 6 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Well, it'll close the books on Kyle Simon. He ends up allowing 7 runs on 8 hits in 5 innings. This one, of course, charged to Coleman. Here is Rico Noel, and he takes a breaking ball down and away. Ball 1 and no strikes. It may not be a home run everywhere else, but that's a base clearing triple in a lot of ballparks.
Yeah.
Well, the end result could be just about the same. That ball was hit way too hard for any outfielder to catch up to it. Fastball in for a strike. Noel will bat at 1-1.
Well, and the thing is, as well as Simon was pitching through those 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings, you look at his line score, 7 runs. That 6th inning,
and for 4 innings, he was just about untouchable. And as you said, it springboarded off the hit batter.
Yeah.
And he was in pretty good shape on that bat against Garner and hit him with the pitch, and it leads to a 6-run inning. Noel also trying to reach base here. It's 2-1. Trayvon Robinson waits on deck. There's still only 1 out. Breaking ball gets there, a 2nd strike. Rico bats 2-2. And you won't see that many home runs out of Amaral, but what a great moment for it. Noel will swing and miss. Now, Coleman's gotten the 2 right-handed batters on strikes. Now the switch hitting Trayvon Robinson stepping in.
And the 9th batter of the inning.
The signings of Amaral and Clevenger were absolutely necessary. The Barnstormers needed to reload with a couple of decent left-handed batters, and as you say, they're not Galen or Gindel and Hodson. You can't expect them to be, but they're 2 pretty good veteran players. Called strike on Robinson. 0-1 here, and Amaral knew that was the spot. He was ahead in the count, 2-0, bases loaded. He was looking for something fat, and he got it, and he took care of it. Hard hit ground ball. Trayvon can't miss a glove here tonight. Underhanded from Maddox to Coleman to end the inning. 3-1 on the play, but the Barnstormers, before that happens, score 6 on 5 hits. No errors, nobody left on base, and at the end of 6, thanks to that drive by Bo Amaral, the Barnstormers lead 8-3. Here's Daniel Mascus. He'll come out for the 7th inning and face Kajimoto, Rosa, and Maddox. Lancaster now working with an 8-3 lead. John Anderson is in position to get the win here tonight. He threw a scoreless inning in the 3rd, giving up a base hit and a walk. Got out of the 7th inning when Michael Baca was thrown out in the rundown, thinking he could score on a wild pitch, but Anderson De La Rosa knocked it down and may have fooled him a bit, drawing him off the third base bank.
Well, he was dancing down the line during the pitches, and when that ball skipped away from De La Rosa, he hesitated, and you said that was the key. He hesitated.
First pitch swinging is Kajimoto, and blast this to deep left field. Back on it goes, halting a long way, and he makes the catch in that deep garden out in left center field for out number 1. Kajimoto hit that a ton.
He did, and of course it hits as it starts to angle out to the deepest part of the park. But boy, did he give that a ride.
Where that Haller Electric sign is, it's about 380 from home plate. 1 out, Jovan Rosa the batter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Mascus getting a new baseball around the league. Long Island up 6-3 at York in the bottom of the 6th inning. Sugarland 3-1 over Somerset in the bottom of the 2nd. Southern Maryland 4, Bridgeport 3. That's in the top of the 9th. First pitch is low. Ball 1 on Rosa.
Well, that's good news about Long Island.
And actually good news about Southern Maryland. And there's method to my madness there. To the Barnstormers, it does not matter if Southern Maryland wins. As a matter of fact, it can be a good thing. Because if the Barnstormers win the game on August 14th, they're in. Doesn't matter what anybody else does. The Barnstormers are in the playoffs. Ball 3 missing now to Rosa. But if Southern Maryland wins that game, you want the second half race to be the Barnstormers in Southern Maryland, because the Barnstormers are in great shape for a wild card. They're in great shape if Southern Maryland were to win both halves. The one thing, the only combination I think where the Barnstormers would not make the playoffs this year is Rosa gets ball 4 inside, and kind of a troubling half inning right now for Mascus, at least at the outset. Deep fly ball to left, then 4-pitch walk to Rosa. Now Maddox will step in. At the combination that I think is the only way the Barnstormers do not make the playoffs this year is losing the game on the 14th and having somebody other than Somerset win the second half in the Liberty division, and that looks like it might be Bridgeport, and somebody like York coming up and winning the Freedom division. If it's Southern Maryland, that's going to open up a wild card spot, and the Barnstormers are sitting fairly pretty for that. Now to Maddox, a strike taken. It is 0-1. So,
well, better yet, win the game on the 14th.
Win the second half. Yeah, the Barnstormers win the game on the 14th. It just takes care of all kinds of worries. No balls and a strike on Maddox. Partial swing. He went too far. It's 0-2. 2 doubles and 2 runs batted in for Maddox so far tonight. He has had a heck of a game at the plate. Grounded out his first time up.
Yeah, the big blow, that 2-run double in the 5th inning.
Turned the game around at that point.
Just split the gap in left center field.
Maddox will go to work 0-2. Got him, a swing and a miss. Now Maddox takes care of the left-handed batter. 6th strikeout for Barnstormers pitching tonight. Connor Bierfeld will step in. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. I have a hard time believing that Daniel Moskus couldn't help. Certainly a AAA team, but even a major league team is a left-handed setup guy. Don't quite understand why Daniel is still here. It's his 39th game, 4-1 coming in, and a 2.6 ERA. 2 outs. Bierfeld stepping in. Moskus goes to work. Swing and a miss. He had Connor Bierfeld way out ahead of it. No balls and a strike. Lancaster is looking to win for the 13th time in 15 games against New Britain this year. And then New Britain leads York 9-4 in the season series. Transitive property does not necessarily work in baseball or sports in general for that matter. It's only a mathematical principle. If A is greater than B and B is greater than C, then A has to be greater than C. Definitely not working in that 3-way scenario. 1 ball, 1 strike to Bierfeld. Moskus back to the plate, and he is away 2-1. Jordan Hinshaw waiting on deck.
It took me back to high school with those equations.
Or the other part of it is if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Ground ball hit toward third. Dug up by Weber. Plenty of time to throw on the run. He could set his feet. That'll end it here in the top of the 7th. 1 man left on by the New Britain Bees. Time for the stretch. 8-3 Lancaster. New Britain had taken a 3-2 lead in the ball game, but Michael Baca was cut down at the plate, and then the Barnstormers went to work. RBI base hit up the middle for Garrett Weber. That tied the game at 3-all. Nate Coronado followed with a looper into center. 4-3 Barnstormers. And then Bo knows baseball. Amaral with a grand slam. And the Barnstormers with a 5-run lead as we go into the bottom half of the 7th inning. Way to make yourself known in your new ballpark, Bo. Casey Coleman will start off the bottom of the 7th inning. He got all 3 outs last inning, but did allow the grand slam. It'll be Cole Garner leading off the inning once again. Garner was hit by the pitch 5 times in 6 days. At that point, I'd be checking my Facebook messages, seeing what's out there against me on social media. Check swing on a high breaking ball. He went too far, says Carlos Dano. It is 0-1. Are people trashing me on Twitter? Or what's going on here?
That's taking one for the team. Multiple times.
Somebody hack into my account and insult the New Britain Bees. Fouled away, and a quick 2-strike count. I don't think you could have anything personal against Garner. He's just a nice guy. 5 times. I asked Stan about it today. He goes, he crowds the plate. Ground ball down the line at third, foul.
Oh, I'll have to get a look. It didn't appear that he's one that hugs the line or hugs the plate.
Rico, I understand.
No, it doesn't appear that he's up on the plate.
Here's the 0-2. Breaking ball gets him. So Coleman has been devastating to the right-handed batters so far. We'll see how Halton does against them. Sean 2 for 3 right now.
Coleman wishes he had one pitch back, though. One to Amaral's the big difference.
Halton 2 for 3 and robbed by Rosa of a double the other trip. A run scored and a run batted in for the Barnstormers left fielder. Breaking ball dances to the outside corner. Coleman's slider is just tearing up the right-handed batters, and I can't fault them. I mean, it's a really good pitch.
Well, it's kind of been when Simon's pitch was on as well. It had that bite diving away.
Fastball in there, a second strike. It's 0-2. The right-handed batters so far: De La Rosa struck out, Noel struck out, Garner struck out. Halton is 0-2. Amaral from the left side with a grand slam, and Robinson hit a sharp grounder to first. And the 0-2. High drive down the left field line, but that is going to go well foul. Halton hit that one quite high and quite far.
Just got under it.
That never really had a chance to stay in fair territory. 0-2. But Halton has that power back.
Capture the moment.
He had a massive road trip, especially the last few days. As I said, he drove in the only Barnstormers run in the second game Saturday, all 4 runs yesterday, drove in all 4 Lancaster runs on Thursday, and there's strike 3. Fastball. So a little bit of a change of pace for Coleman. He strikes a right-handed batter out looking. That's 4 in a row. Here's Steve Clevenger. He'll step in left-handed. 3 for 3 for Clevenger here tonight, with a run scored and a run batted in. Well, the Barnstormers, because they have the left-handed batters now, as Clevenger takes the breaking ball inside, 1-0, they have a chance to break it up. There was a time before Amaral and Clevenger got here where it was just right-handed batter after right-handed batter. They looked like Sugar Land or Southern Maryland or York. Bouncing ball toward the middle, Baca hustling over, and he and Kajimoto get in each other's way, and Clevenger, I believe, will be 4 for 4. That should be a base hit,
yes,
and it is.
Should be.
And it is. He's 4 for 4. Garrett Weber will come to the plate.
So he picked up his second 3-hit game in his last at bat. Now he has his first 4-hit game.
Clevenger on with 2 outs. Garrett Weber drove in the tying run with a base hit up the middle in the 6th inning. 39th run batted in of the year for Garrett, outside and low from Coleman. Ball 1. Coronado Waiting on deck, he gave the Barnstormers the lead. He's been something. Breaking ball misses inside. Weber is ahead 2-0. 8-3 Lancaster, bottom of the 7th. You always like to see the offense keep going, but at the same time, you'd like to hope you don't need it tonight.
Yeah.
That's ball 3 outside, 3-0.
Well, and you got to go back to that 5th inning when defensively Lancaster was out there forever and a week, and they came back and responded in the 6th inning with that eruption.
Yeah, this ball club's playing very confidently right now. 3-0, strike taken. Garrett's at bat will continue.
That's why I was so looking forward to listening to that game on Friday night, because I was just thinking, okay, this team is really on a roll right now.
Coleman's 3-1, inside and low, and a right-handed batter reaches base. First and second, and Coronado will step in. 1 for 3 for Nate tonight. Well, we have our 4th walk. Note to self, text Kristen. You have to sit in the seat and multitask over the course of a game.
That. Between, keeping the book, texting, tweeting, updating the site.
Ball 1 is upstairs to Coronado. Which reminds me, I haven't done that in a while.
I have enough problems just keeping balls and strikes.
Foul ball back. Pretty good looking swing for Nathaniel Air. And he is a Nathaniel. He is not a Nathan.
Oh. Okay.
Just to set the record straight. Here's a 1-1. Fly ball out to right. Didn't get nearly enough of this. Hinshaw coming in and toward the line. He'll surround it and put it away to end the inning. 1 in and 2 left for the Barnstormers. We're on our way to the 8th. Lancaster ahead by 5. There's Kaohi Downing taking over for the 8th inning. Downing's streak of scoreless appearances ended last week at 16 as he was brought in to close out a game at New Britain. He ended up getting the save, but he did allow a couple of runs in the process. This is his 38th ball game. 2-0 with that one save and a 2.88 earned run average for Mr. Downing. He gets to face Hinshaw, Walton, and Krause in the top of the 8th inning. And Barnstormers need to avoid not just an explosion here, they need to avoid giving up 2 runs. Because Anthony Carter could use the night off. He pitched Saturday night and yesterday, getting the saves in both of the Barnstormers' wins. at Southern Maryland, but you don't want to overly tax your closer. So you want to keep this game more than a 4-run lead. Give Anthony the night off. Jordan Hinshaw at the plate. He is 1 for 3. He's also reached on an error. First pitch by Downing, swing and a miss. And they haven't seen anything quite like that tonight. This guy has tremendous stuff, and somehow I wonder how he got lost in the shuffle. A low-round pick, played outfield in college. They signed him as a pitcher. Really didn't get above single A. Swing and a miss again. It's 0-2. But this guy's got an electrifying arm. The problem is he's now 31 years old. And he's been unheralded. Ross saw video, and he's like, I have to get this guy. And he has been outstanding here since about the first month or so of the season.
Yeah, opponents hitting just 193 off of him this year.
To Hinshaw, here's the 2-strike pitch. Wasted outside. Ball 1, 2 strikes.
So he gets, for conversation's sake, he gets through the 8th inning. Who comes out and pitches the 9th?
That's almost anybody's guess right now. I look down, and Munson perhaps. High pop fly here. Weber and Coronado both in play, so it'll be Garrett Weber. 1 out. Hinshaw's retired. Designated hitter Jamar Walton will step in. I got a kick out of it last night. The Barntormers had the night off, so what did a group of them do? They stayed in the clubhouse to watch the season debut of Game of Thrones. Got a big screen down there. They were engrossed. I haven't gotten into a TV series in a long time. 1 out. The pitch to Jamar Walton, fouled back to the net.
Now, see, I'm
no balls in the strike.
I'm looking at Walton at the plate, and he looks like he's crowding the plate so much more than Garner did or does. He is way up on the plate.
Foul ball back into the padding. Big rip there by Jamar. It's 0-2.
He's not getting cheated on his swings, that's for sure. Yeah, Downing has been impressive this year. He just gets out there and just throws strikes.
Wasn't the case early. He had trouble with a lot of walks his first handful of appearances. Then it changed, gave up a bunch of base hits. The last 20 times out or so, he's been marvelous. Fastball up and in. Ball 1, 2 strikes. Man from Honolulu, Hawaii, Kaohi Downing. Hawaiian first name and very Anglo last name. One, two, the motion, the offering, little knuckleball, foul up the third base line. Reminiscent of Walton's one-hop ground ball back in the 6th, but hit even more weakly. Downing still ahead at a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, I think he's a converted outfielder. You look at somebody like Jacob deGrom, who was a shortstop.
Downing spent 1 year as an infielder in the Giants organization. He's got a feel for almost everything except donning that mask behind the plate.
Well,
you could not pay me enough to do that. You have to be a special breed.
After seeing what has happened to the catchers here tonight, no.
Skelton and De La Rosa have both been nailed. Mentioned Tyler Clark got beaten up Saturday night. Swing and a miss at the power fastball. Down goes Walton, 2 outs. 7 strikeouts for Lancaster pitching tonight. Michael Krause will step in. High hard one. Walton couldn't catch up. Krause tonight 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Lancaster needing 4 more outs tonight. We're starting to see signs of this bullpen being like 2015. I'm not going to say we're quite there yet. That ball club had a lead the second half, in the late innings, it was over. But this is getting close to it. Strike taken, it's 0-1. I don't want to jinx it right now, but this octet is looking awfully good.
Well, and you mentioned when I first got here, the team ERA in the last 10 games or something is 2.
The team ERA for the last 11 games coming into tonight have been 2.78.
Oh, you're going to win games.
Yeah, because there's plenty of offense here.
Yep.
Fastball in too close. It's a ball and a strike on Krause. You know, we saw it with this bullpen last Monday. Kevin Munson had an off night. Since then, he's had a couple of spectacular outings. But the rest of the pen picked him up. The Barnstormers got out of that inning and ended up winning the game 2-1. Foul ball back, 1-2 on Krause. If Downing can keep attacking with fastballs here or come with the hammer. Downing came in, struck out Krause, and Baca with the bases loaded in that 6th inning to keep the game tied at 1. Then he, Moskos, Schumann, and Carter finished it off. Downing ready to go. Here's a 1-2. Just missing inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the motion. Ooh. Fastball, and Krause gets nailed. Baca will step in with 2 outs and a runner on.
Ouch.
Ooh. Oh, got it. Looked like in the ribs. Ow.
You know, and I'm looking down at the scorebook. He had Henshaw 2 strikes. He got him to pop out. Walton 2 strikes, struck him out. And then he had Krause with 2 strikes.
Hits him. Baca steps in over 2 with a walk. Right-handed batter with the jaw protector is Baca. Downing to the plate, strike 1. And again, trying to protect the 5-run lead. You don't want to see any of it evaporate in this 8th inning, not just for Downing statistically, but to set up the rest of the bullpen and set it up conceivably for days. Here's the 0-1, down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, if you can get into the win column without having to use your closer, that's a good sign. You can save him for the next night. And as you mentioned, needing a night off after pitching in the last 2 ball games.
And that misses. Now 2 balls and a strike. So a little bit of trouble here with 2 gone in the inning. And that's outside. 3-1. Suddenly, Downing can't find the strike zone. And you've got Skelton on deck. So again, you don't want to see any of this lead get away and put the Barnstormers into a situation where they'd want to use Carter. 3-1. Downing is low, ball 4. 2 runners are on. All of a sudden, the lineup flips, and here is Skelton, who's 1 for 4.
And you don't want that bottom of the order to be the ones getting on base, because now you do flip it. Now you come to the top with Skelton, Kajimoto, Rosa, all guys that have done damage.
2 outs and 2 on, and of course you got Skelton with maybe the most discriminating eye in the league digging in.
Now, will he go after the first pitch? You mentioned he likes to go after first pitches.
From time to time.
Yeah.
1 out of 4. Skelton takes a strike. Downing gets ahead at 0-1. Anderson, an inning and a third, scoreless. Mosca's pitched a scoreless 7th. Downing got the first 2 outs in the 8th with ease, and now suddenly 2 on. Skelton batting no balls and a strike. Downing ready to go. Skelton with a foul to the left. It's 0-2. You want to just put him away at no balls and 2 strikes. You don't want to have what kept happening in the top of the 5th inning, that 53-pitch long inning with all the 2-strike counts. And one runner after another getting on base. Barnstormers pitchers have walked 6, and that'll make Scott Patterson squirm. He hates walks. 0-2. The pitch to Skelton, smashed through the hole, base hit left field. They're going to wave around Krause. The throw will be offline, knocked down by De La Rosa. The other runners check up. So now it's 8-4, and Kajimoto will come to the plate. Kajimoto is 2 for 4. He'll bat left-handed for the first time in the game. Downing gives up a run here tonight, second time in a row against the New Britain Bees, and here comes Patterson for a visit. All of a sudden, it's gotten scary.
Well, just a good piece of hitting by Skelton, going away, slapping it through the hole on the left side. Yeah, and that hit by pitch, the hit batter. Again,
it started the 6-run 6th inning for the Barnstormers, and now it's opened the gates for the New Britain Bees here in the top of the 8th inning. It's still an 8-4 ball game.
Right.
You've got 2 outs. All you need to do is get Kajimoto, and you're out of the inning. It's a 4-run lead. But if Kajimoto comes through here and he's batting left-handed in this ballpark, you know he can leave it. Suddenly it's a 1-run game, and Rosa's up. Even if he reaches base, you've got Rosa up as the tying run.
Well, and look what he did in his last at-bat. He sent Halton back to the wall in left center field.
So it's Kajimoto up there, 2 for 4. He's been batting right-handed all night. Turns around to hit from the left side of the plate against Downing with Baca at second and Skelton at first. The Downing pitch fouled at the plate.
Broke his bat.
0-1. One strike to Yusuke Kajimoto. This is a big batter.
That might have went off his ankle, too.
Downing is being asked to get through this inning. Kajimoto trying to walk it off. Hey, guess what we're going to have again tonight?
A 3-hour game.
A 3-hour game. There weren't all that many of them, believe it or not, on the road trip. Now, we did play a doubleheader, 2 7-inning games on Saturday, but we only had 2 3-hour-plus games on the trip.
And the thing is, the game was moving along early on.
Yeah.
Well, then we hit the 5th inning. And
0-1 to Kajimoto. High, it's a ball, 1-1. And the Barnstormers in that situation, again, it comes off of yesterday and forcing 6 relievers to be in that game. Nobody's throwing in the bullpen right now. So Downing has got to get out of this inning. 3 batters in a row have reached with 2 outs. 1-1 on Kajimoto. This is chipped out to shallow left, in trouble. Back goes Coronado, and he's got it for the final out. Nate Coronado got a good jump on it to end the inning with only 1 run on the board for the New Britain Bees. They leave 2. Will go to the bottom of the 8th. 8-4 Lancaster. Folks sticking it out on a Monday evening. The Barnstormers with the 8-4 lead. York has battled back to tie Long Island. It is 6-all over at Peoples Bank Park in the top half of the 8th inning. Southern Maryland holds off Bridgeport 4-3. Sugarland with a 5-1 win over Somerset. I'll be interested to see how well Bridgeport rebounds. All along, I have said that the Bluefish, and there are a lot of players in the Barnstormers clubhouse who have echoed this, believing that the Bluefish have been the best team in this league, and the record shows they have the best overall record in the league coming into tonight. But their pitching has been stripped. They have lost Jonathan Albaladejo, they have lost Corey Reardon, they've lost Tyler Badamo, and maybe most importantly, they've lost their closer, David Carpenter. Reardon went to Asia. The other three signed by major league organizations. It has really taken a lot out of that ball club, and I'll be interested to see how Luis Rodriguez pieces it back together, but knowing Luis, he'll find a way. Meanwhile, the Barnstormers will be led off by Anderson De La Rosa against left-hander Brandon Fry, and it's a ball outside, 1-0. Kevin Munson is warming up to throw the top half of the 9th inning. Sugarland is up 5-1 over Somerset in the top half of the 4th.
But has any other team had 10 players?
Somerset has.
Has they?
Yep.
Have they?
Swing and a miss by De La Rosa, who's hitless tonight. 1-1 the count. Now, Somerset has been stripped, but they've got not just one pipeline. It seems like they have several. And they've been able to get some of their former players back. I don't recall Somerset ever playing short through this whole year. 1-2. If they had kept the team together they had opening weekend, just forget it. I think they would have won 100 games. But you're just not going to be able to do that. They had such an amazing pitching staff. Brandon Fry working 1-2. De La Rosa with a liner foul. Coming down to the Lancaster bullpen. A ball and 2 strikes. I'm sure Anderson has at least half an eye back at home with the elections in Venezuela, highly controversial. Our government not recognizing them, apparently. Ground ball pulled foul wide of third base. We can complain all we want living in this country, and I don't think the choice between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump was a popular one, period. But this is still the greatest country on earth. And when you see what's going on some of these other places around the world, appreciate being an American. Yeah. I can't say I'm proud to be an American because that would mean I did something to create this, and I can't have it. I'm grateful to be an American. I think that sums it up more. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Down goes De La Rosa. 1 out here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Bo Amaral coming around. Amaral with the big blow of the game, a grand slam back in the 6th, and right now that serves as the difference. Tough night for De La Rosa, but his ball club is winning. York has gotten one of their big stars from the past couple of years back, Telvin Nash. Now they're set up to make a run at it. New Britain just played them and said that team looks awfully good right now.
Just going to add to the intrigue and suspense of the second half.
Breaking ball is low, ball 1, and I think even more of a reason the Barnstormers need to win that game on the 14th. Then they can relax. Otherwise, this second half might go right down to the wire with York as the first half did with Southern Maryland. Right down to the wire and then some. Up and in, Amaral ducking back out of the way.
Dare I even say, what happens if it rains the 14th of August?
It probably, and I hate to say this because off days are at a premium right now, would get moved to September 11th.
Oh, jeez.
Because we don't go back to Southern Maryland, which is part of the issue, and it's been part of the issue. Ground ball pulled foul. We had no mutual off days in the first half after that rainout. So July 28th became the optimal solution, and everybody agreed to that. Nobody had a problem with that. And the discussion was, because we've been told all along that it would be the first game played, and then suddenly it wasn't. And the Barnstormers have to get ready for the 14th. One hopper right to Maddox, second out of the inning. And Rico Noel will come to the plate. He is 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored.
Well, it is what it is. They got to put it aside until the 14th of August and then just try and win as many games as you can between now and then. Just try and put a stranglehold on first place here in the second half.
The Barnstormers, for the most part, have done their part so far.
Yes, they have.
Fry to Noel, way up and away. Ball 1, no strikes. Brandon Fry, 6'3", 195-pounder from Jacksonville, Florida, into his 47th game of the season. He is tied with Bridgeport's Zach Groats. We'll see if Groats pitched tonight. Groats had been in 46, but he did not, so Fry is the new leader. High to Rico Noel, ball 2. Trayvon Robinson is on deck. 10 hits for the Barnstormers. Steve Clevenger has 4. Bo Amaral has the big one. So the two most recent additions coming through with flying colors in their new ballpark. Swing and a miss. It's 2-1 on Noel. They hadn't seen much of this place. Those guys, Coronado, very infrequently have they seen Clipper Magazine Stadium. It was just another stopping point in the travels. But now they'll become familiar with the place. The Barnstormers coming out of the All-Star break signing these new guys, but they've been to Sugar Land, then home briefly, and then New Britain and Southern Maryland. In fact, prior to tonight, the Barnstormers had played 17 of their 23 second-half games on the road. Well, the schedule definitely shifting back to here, and it should benefit this ball club. 28 home games remaining, including tonight. 20 second-half games on the road. Check that, 19 second-half and 20 overall.
Well, and they're 10 games over 500 as far as their record is, as far as a home record. And I look back at that stretch where they had a skeleton crew. I mean, Ross had 2 guys on the bench to go to, and they persevered.
Fastball, high and inside. Noel has to recalculate. Yeah, I do have a walk. 5 picked up by the Barnstormers, and Trayvon Robinson will come to the plate. Maybe he can avoid a glove right-handed. He wasn't able to do it left-handed. Struck out the first time up, and then 3 pretty sharp ground balls the rest of the way, especially the last 2. I don't even know who a lot of these pitchers are for Bridgeport right now. First pitch strike to Trayvon. Nothing in 1. Southern Maryland with the 4-3 win tonight. A double for Michael Snyder. Losada and Hose homered in the game. They had pitchers batting last week. Losada was hurt. Corey Vaughn had something else he needed to tend to, so he was elsewhere. Zach Wilson is out with a blood clot situation, and they don't know if or when he'll be able to return. Well, they got Alex Glenn in, left-handed batting outfielder. Pickoff throw to first, that gets away, and Rico Noel will move ahead to second. The Britain charged with its first error of the night. And Trayvon Robinson can extend the lead with a single.
It'd be nice to get that run back that they gave up in the 8th inning. Just a little more breathing room once again. Looks as though that will be Munson.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. You don't want to use the back end guys, Schumann and Carter, tonight. Not up by 4. Breaking ball spins to the outer edge. It's 1-2 to Trayvon Robinson. Munson pitched a 12-pitch, 3-strikeout inning yesterday against Southern Maryland. He threw the 6th inning in the day game yesterday. Boy, what a brilliant effort that was. No save opportunity with the Barnstormers leading by 4. Robinson wouldn't mind making it 5. Hitless tonight is Trayvon. Barnstormers have the darndest time keeping any kind of a hot streak going among individual players. Into the dirt, Skelton can't find it. It's 2-2. The longest hitting streak of the season is 11. That's over the course of a long campaign with a good hitting ball club, remarkably short. Here's a 2-2, again in the dirt. Robinson batting it full with Garner on deck. If I remember correctly, it was KC that had it. But his sheet's no longer in my book.
But didn't Millage have a 10-game hitting streak?
He had a 9 or 10 early on. His was 10. Right out of the gate. Robinson checks on the swing. They'll appeal. He did not go. Back-to-back walks, and Garner will step in. Lancaster now has walked 6 times tonight, so we've had a total of 12. Cole Garner 0 for 3. He's been hit by a pitch tonight and scored a run.
Yeah, you get that many walks in a ball game, you're going to have a 3-hour game.
Garner was 4 for 12 with 2 home runs on the last homestand. Pretty good road trip for him. He was 6 for 20. Drove in 4. Had a big series at Southern Maryland. Down the right field line, but he sliced it well foul. Headed toward the old barn. No balls and 1 strike. He didn't have an official at bat yesterday. He was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. That's it. Well, that one stung him, and you could tell by the reaction. Next thing you knew, the Barnstormers were moving chess pieces all over the field defensively.
Where'd that get him?
Looked like in the arm. Here comes the 0-1 from Fry. Breaking ball up and away. And oddly, Garner was in right field to start the game. It was Halton moving to right from third base that came up with that crazy game-ending play. Cole tries to hold on the swing, can't hear, and he trails at 1-2 with Brandon Fry trying to end this bottom half of the 8th inning now. It's not been a pretty game tonight necessarily with all these bases on balls. Couple of hit batters along the way. Garner up there 1-2. Runners lead off 1st and 2nd. Breaking ball is hit in the air to center. No trouble at all for Michael Krause. Galloping to his left. It'll end it here in the 8th inning. Lancaster strands 2. 9th inning coming up, and the Barnstormers will need to hold a 4-run lead. It has been a lengthy night, but smiles remain on the faces of the patrons here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. Kevin Munson will work the top of the ninth inning. Looking for 3 outs with a 4-run lead is a man who is not a native of Roanoke, Virginia, but he grew up there. Went to a place called Cave Spring High School in the Roanoke area. And in Virginia, Cave Spring has a reputation, and this is going to sound strange that I know this, but I deal on this front. Cave Spring has the reputation of being one of the great academic schools in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I know that because I officiate the state academic tournament, and I have read a lot of Cave Spring High School's matches, and they're a perennial academic powerhouse. Munson to the plate, and first strike is academic. It's 0-1.
So what is an academic tournament?
It's
like
called
Jeopardy?
Scholastic Bowl, Quiz Bowl.
Okay.
And can be anything from literature to history to sports. Smashed on the right side, and Noel doesn't get the glove down. Rosa's aboard to start off the ninth inning. It'll be a base hit. Ball must have stayed low on Rico. So there's one on, and Craig Maddox coming to the plate. Ninth hit for the New Britain Bees tonight. Yeah, literature to history to science to religion to sports to you name it. The arts.
So were you the Alex Trebek of the... Wow.
Yeah. First pitch is low to Maddox. Ball 1, no strikes. New Britain just will not go away tonight. They have had a lot of base runners in this game. 10 men left on base. They've had a couple thrown out on the bases. Here's the 1-0. Maddox goes the other way. A deep fly ball again. Hustling back is Halton, and that's going to be over his head and rattling up against the fences. Rosa is coming to the plate. We may have a play, and he'll be tagged out. What a wasted out for the New Britain Bees. I cannot believe Daisuke Yoshida sent him. A double for Maddox, and on a perfect relay, Rosa is cut down at home.
Well, some indecision coming around third.
It didn't even take a perfect relay throw from Coronado. A good enough one, 7-6-2 on the conversion. Why? The Barntormers will take it.
Absolutely,
Maddox
they'll take
moving up to third. On the throw home, 1 out in the inning. Connor Bierfeld steps in. He is 0 for 3 with a walk. Munson to the plate. Breaking ball is chased. That's the good slider that Kevin has. It is 0-1. And the Barnstormers do have Scott Schumann now throwing in the bullpen in case a safe situation should develop.
Initially, Rosa got the stop sign, and then it quickly changed. And
swing and a miss. It's 0-2. You're down by 4 in the ninth inning. It makes no sense to risk an out on the bases. None whatsoever. 0-2. The count to Bierfeld.
But a sigh of relief from the Lancaster bullpen.
Swing and a miss. Munson gets the second out of the inning. And Jordan Hinshaw is the final hope tonight for the New Britain Bees. 2 outs and the runner at third. The whole look of the inning changed with that out at the plate.
You better believe it did. You got second and third, nobody out, and Bierfeld at the plate. Ooh.
But the tying run in the on-deck circle with nobody out.
Yeah.
Now a strike on Hinshaw. It's 0-1. It took a lot of the pressure off Munson. My goodness.
Yeah.
1 strike on Hinshaw. Munson comes back with the slider. He went too far on it. It's 0-2. This is the way Munson looked yesterday, the way he has pitched Bierfeld and Hinshaw with the 12-pitch, 3-strikeout inning. 0-2. Maddox at third with 2 outs. The Barnstormers 1 strike away from the victory here tonight. Munson drops it down and away, make it 1-2. And overall for the Barnstormers, this would be 8 out of 9 if they can get 1 more strike. Hinshaw awaits the 1-2. Munson to the plate. He got him, a swing and a miss. The out at the plate just took the steam out of the inning, and Kevin Munson took it home from there with a pair of impressive strikeouts. 2 hits and 1 left in the 9th inning. 3 Bs out on the bases here tonight. We'll be back with more Barnstormers action coming your way on Blue Ridge Cable tomorrow night. The Barnstormers and the Bees from Clipper Magazine Stadium. Lancaster will try to make it 9 out of 10 here tomorrow. Now for Eric May, I'm Dave Collins. Have a great evening, everyone, and we'll see you at the ballpark.